Chapter 1052. Wang Lin greets Senior. How could I dare to forget the promise I made back then? No matter how dangerous this place is, I, Wang, will definitely deliver Qing Shuang's body. Seeing Zhou Yi again, Wang Lin's mood fluctuated. Zhou Yi was one of his few benefactors. No matter what cultivation level Wang Lin reached, he would always be very respectful to his benefactors. Zhou Yi looked at Wang Lin and revealed a gratified expression. He shook his head and said, "Between us, there is no need to call me Senior. If you don't mind, just call me Big Brother Zhou." At this point, Zhou Yi's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he carefully looked at Wang Lin. "Who injured you so seriously? Your origin soul is dim, and due to your slow recovery, the hidden danger is even worse." As he spoke, Zhou Yi's expression became cold. Wang Lin bitterly smiled and briefly explained what happened with Master Void. He didn't talk about source origin, only about Rose Finch's awakening. It wasn't that Wang Lin didn't trust Zhou Yi, but the matter of source origin was too important. Master Void. There was a flash of coldness in Zhou Yi's eyes, and there was guilt in his gaze toward Wang Lin. If it wasn't for him delivering Qing Shuang to me, he wouldn't have put himself in danger. Master Void, I'll remember this person. Zhou Yi nodded and no longer asked about this matter. However, Master Void firmly remembered this in his heart. Hurting Wang Lin, who had come to deliver Qing Shuang, was the same as touching Master Void's reverse scale. If there was a chance, with Zhou Yi's personality, he would make Master Void pay a painful price. You must have come here for the medicinal pills in this place. Although there are many medicinal pills here, most of them have already been taken away by the celestial cloud couple back then. The remaining ones are only effective for spiritual bodies. Due to the complicated storage method of these medicinal pills, the celestial cloud couple did not take them away back then. As Zhou Yi spoke, he immediately changed the topic and said, "But that's not a problem. I'll think of a way to get your healing pills." After Zhou Yi finished speaking, he turned into a sword ray that penetrated the restriction outside the alchemy room and turned into a shadow in the air. He clasped his hands and said calmly, "Seniors of the celestial cloud couple, this person is my old friend. Can you show yourself and give me the pill?" A chuckle came from the distance. Wang Wei and Huan walked out from the purple forest. Their steps weren't big, but in 3 strange steps, they arrived outside the alchemy room. Wang Wei waved his hand, and the restriction outside the room disappeared as if it had never been there. This scene caused Wang Lin's pupils to shrink. I've already guessed that Brother Wang has some relationship with this sword spirit. Indeed, I've guessed correctly. Wang Wei smiled, and his right hand reached out. A spatial rift appeared, and 6 purple jade bottles flew out and landed in Wang Wei's hand. These 6 bottles of grade 5 celestial condensing pills might be useful to you. With that, Wang Wei waved his right hand, and the 6 bottles flew toward Wang Lin. Bursts of dense, celestial, spiritual energy came from the 6 bottles. Just smelling it would make one feel relaxed. Wang Lin clasped his hands and picked up the 6 bottles. After scanning them with his divine sense, he didn't immediately consume them, but put them inside his bag of holding. Huan carefully looked at Wang Lin and suddenly asked, "Are you the inheritor of the annihilation restriction?" Wang Lin's expression didn't change. He looked at Huan and calmly said, "I'm not the inheritor, I just know a bit about it." When Zhou Yi saw that Wang Wei only gave him 6 bottles of celestial condensing pills, he couldn't help but frown. He pondered a bit before looking at Wang Wei and clasping his hands. "Senior Wang Wei, not only is this person an old friend of mine, but he also helped me greatly. I never told him about what happened in the past. In truth, I was sealed here and was saved by him. If it weren't for him, I fear I wouldn't have met Senior." Wang Wei looked at Zhou Yi meaningfully. He raised his right hand and reached toward the crack again. This time, 5 5-colored jade bottles flew out. Wang Wei held the jade bottles and threw them at Wang Lin. There are 5 pills in these bottles. They're called Hidden Heaven pills, and they are grade 4 celestial pills. Consuming them can greatly heal origin soul injuries. Wang Lin caught the pills and scanned them with his divine sense. He immediately felt that the celestial spiritual energy inside the bottles was monstrous. It was far more dense than the 6 bottles of celestial condensing pills he had just received. Zhou, he frowned again. He was clearly still a bit dissatisfied. He clenched his teeth and no longer clasped his hands. Since Senior knows I'm the sword spirit of the Rain Celestial Sword, then you must know about Rain Celestial Lord Qing Shuang. Wang Wei's eyes suddenly narrowed, but he didn't ask anything. He took out 3 more bottles of pills and threw them at Wang Lin without explaining their effects. Wang Lin caught them and scanned them with his divine sense. His expression immediately changed. The celestial spiritual energy inside these 3 bottles was even denser than the 5-color bottle. Back then, Junior was infatuated with a female corpse in the Rain Celestial Realm. I used the Celestial Jade Pagoda to store this female corpse so that her body wouldn't decay. Zhou Yi's eyes were filled with reminiscence as he explained how he obtained Qing Shuang. Only later did I find out that she wasn't Ting Heir, but Celestial Lord Qing Shuang. Wang Wei's expression changed. He was worried that he would destroy Zhou Yi's spirit if he searched his soul, so he didn't ask about Zhou Yi's story. Now that he heard it for the first time, his heart was shaken. Huwan's eyes revealed a hint of excitement. The two of them looked at each other. Wang Wei's right hand reached into the crack again, and dozens of bottles of various colors flew toward Wang Lin. Staring at Zhou Yi, Wang Wei said solemnly, "Continue." Wang Lin's expression was strange. He now knew why Zhou Yi said he would find a way to get the pills. The last time I took Ting Heir to the Rain Celestial Realm, I met Wang Lin there. The reminiscence in Zhou Yi's eyes became even stronger. He seemed to be completely immersed in the beautiful and unforgettable memories, and he revealed a melancholic smile. As he spoke, everything that happened in the Rain Celestial Realm was slowly told. Wang Lin calmly listened, and was also reminded of the past. Wang Wei and Huan were brought into this real memory, especially when they heard that someone wanted to snatch the Azure Frost corpse. Huan's gentle expression was immediately replaced by a trace of killing intent. Wang Wei's eyes flashed with a cold light, and a powerful pressure spread out. I was willing to burn everything for her. I have no regrets. Zhou Yi murmured. Even now, he didn't regret what he had done. After hearing that Zhou Yi had burned his soul to protect Qing Shuang's corpse, and even after reaching the ascended stage, he still didn't regret what he had done. Huan looked at Zhou Yi with a hint of pity. Bad karma. Wang Wei let out a sigh. With his cultivation and experience, he could naturally see if Zhou Yi was telling the truth or not. As Zhou Yi spoke, the remnant soul that came out of Qing Shuang's body because of Zhou Yi's obsession for 1,000 years awakened. She revived Zhou Yi, who was on the verge of death, and became the new Rain Sword Spirit. As Zhou Yi spoke about the past, Wang Wei and Huan fell silent. After a long time, Wang Wei let out a sigh. He clasped his hands at Zhou Yi and emotionally said, "Brother Zhou, on behalf of Qing Shuang, I thank Brother Zhou for his kindness. If I have offended you before, I hope Brother Zhou won't take offense." Huan, who was beside him, also revealed a hint of sadness. She looked at Zhou Yi and said, "Brother Zhou's kindness is something that we husband and wife will never forget." The two of them could immediately tell if what Zhou Yi said was true or false. Combined with their previous speculations, there was nothing wrong with Zhou Yi's words. So how could they not believe him? Moreover, Zhou Yi's identity as the Rain Celestial Realm Sword Spirit explained everything. I presume little brother Wang Lin came to deliver Qing Shuang's body. Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin with undisguised admiration in his eyes. He didn't know much about Wang Lin. He didn't expect Wang Lin to be such a righteous person. Now that things were clear, Wang Lin didn't immediately take out Qing Shuang's body. Instead, he took a few steps back, looked at Wang Wei and Huan, and calmly asked, "What are the identities of the two seniors?" Wang Wei admired Wang Lin's caution even more. The more cautious this person was, the more it showed how much he cared about what Zhou Yi had asked him to do. "Forget it. I've never told anyone about Wang's identity. You and Zhou Yi have helped us greatly, and Celestial Emperor Qing Lin greatly. If I keep it a secret, Wong, won't be able to do it. Wang Wei let out a sigh and looked at the black fog at the center of the sixth floor. There was a hint of melancholy in his eyes. Wang, I was Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's #1 guard, and at the same time, I'm also my teacher's second disciple, Wang Wei calmly said. The moment he revealed his identity, an indescribable aura came from his body. This aura was filled with heaven-shaking pride. Wang Lin could vaguely feel Wang Wei's demeanor in the celestial realm. Huan softly said, I'm my teacher's 7th disciple. I grew up with little sister Qing Xuan. When the celestial realm collapsed, the two of us went out to do something and luckily avoided it. Then we found out that my teacher wasn't dead, but was in closed-door cultivation after being seriously injured. The two of us searched countless caves over the years and finally determined that my teacher was in the celestial spirit heaven realm. Wang Lin was startled and silently pondered. Huan looked at Wang Lin and waved her right hand at the restriction beside her. The restriction around her immediately changed and became even more powerful than the original restriction. You should have already seen the difference in the restriction outside the alchemy room. With your restriction cultivation, you should have guessed it. After my teacher opened the Celestial Emperor Cave, all the buildings and restrictions were placed by me. This way, the restrictions I added can perfectly fuse together. Huan's voice wasn't loud, but when it landed in Wang Lin's ears, it was like thunder. Wang Lin took a deep breath and bitterly smiled. So it's you. I thought it was Senior Wang Wei. Wang Wei shook his head and smiled. My restriction skills can't compare to hers. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost the bet with her about you. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and was about to take out the celestial jade pagoda. However, just at this moment, Wang Wei's expression suddenly changed and he looked into the distance. A piercing laugh echoed out through the 6th level. Earlier, there was a problem with the home network, so Jin called the vice moderator and asked him to explain to everyone that this chapter was updated at the internet cafe and hasn't been finished yet. He's currently working on the 3rd chapter. Please wait patiently. Jin is very seriously writing. There are still 4 hours until the month is over. If you don't vote now, your votes will be taken away. Give it to Jin and see if he can get over 5,000 votes. Speaking of which, the Celestial Renegade Immortal has never reached 5,000 votes before. Chapter 1053. The moment the sharp laughter echoed, Wang Lin saw a bald person in the distance. It was as if he was stepping on the void and quickly closing in. Bei Lu. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. What a good disciple of Qing Lin to actually use a restriction spell to trap this demon. Bei Lu closed in with a few steps and immediately saw Wang Lin. His eyes were filled with surprise. You were able to get here as well. Bei Lu's eyes revealed a strange light. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Wei's eyes, and he let out a cold snort. His right hand formed a seal and pointed forward. A curtain of rain suddenly appeared and shot toward Bei Lu, who once stepped into the restriction on the side. She bit the tip of her right finger and drew a strange rune in the air. The moment the rune appeared, it gave off a ghostly glow. Just at this moment, all the restrictions on the 6th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave seemed to come alive. They all began to flash at the same time, as if they had all been activated. They emitted bursts of ghostly light and quickly floated up from all directions toward ancient demon Bei Lu. The sky was filled with the ghostly glow of restrictions. As Huan pointed with her right hand, all the restrictions gathered. Ancient demon Bei Lu's hands pushed forward and a monstrous amount of demonic energy rushed out from his body. It formed a vortex of demonic energy. This demon doesn't want to fight with the two of you. The two of you want to save Qing Lin, and I want to find ancient Devil Tajia. Although our goals are different, we can still cooperate. I'm afraid the two of you won't be able to open ancient Devil Tajia's seal. If you add this demon, your chances of success will be even greater. Bei Lu was inside the vortex of demonic energy and allowed the demonic energy to roar around him. This caused his voice to seem distorted, and when it landed in his ears, it caused his body to tremble. Wang Lin was already injured, so his face immediately turned pale. He no longer hesitated and took out several pills. He didn't have time to catalyze them, so he stared at the sky and activated his origin energy. What do you think of this demon suggestion? If we continue to fight, you won't be able to save the Celestial Emperor, and I won't be able to kill ancient Devil Tajia. In the end, it will only benefit him. Bei Luo's voice was filled with a demonic feeling. In truth, Bei Luo did this because he was afraid of Wang Wei and Huan. The two of them worked together, and Huan controlled all the restrictions here. Bei Luo left the Celestial Burial Pool and met the Celestial Cloud Dao couple on the 4th floor. Both sides had experienced a fierce battle, and in the end, no one was able to kill the other. However, because of Huan's existence, Bello had been trapped for several months. This time, he didn't come here to continue killing, but to cooperate. Huan's eyes flashed as she looked at Wang Wei. Wang Wei stared at Bei Luo, and after a long time, the coldness in his eyes dissipated. He waved his right hand, and the water curtain disappeared. Then he calmly said, "Okay." Bei Luo also let out a sigh of relief and landed on the ground. However, he maintained a certain distance from the Celestial Cloud Dao couple. His gaze swept by and landed on Wang Lin. He smiled and said, "Brother Wang, I didn't expect your cultivation level to increase so much. However, if you don't heal your injuries soon, your cultivation will be greatly affected. Forget it. After all, this demon came here because of you. If it wasn't for you, I fear no one would have let me come here. Although I don't have any medicine to heal your injuries, I'm afraid your injuries were caused by someone. Tell me who injured you, and I'll kill him to repay your kindness." Wang Lin's expression was cold. With his intelligence, how could he not hear the provocation in Bei Luo's words? It was clear that Bei Luo was surprised that Wang Lin could come here and didn't know about the relationship between Wang Lin and the Celestial Cloud Dao couple. Wang Lin revealed a smile and clasped his hands. "Then I'll have to thank Sir Gu Yao. When I see the person who injured me, Wang will naturally point him out. Sir Gu Yao, don't go back on your words." Bei Luo's eyes lit up and he laughed. He didn't mention this matter again. Qing Shuang's body couldn't be taken out right now, so Wang Wei took out a pill wrapped in green wax. There was a trace of nostalgia in his eyes as he handed it to Wang Lin. "This is a green pill given to me by my teacher. It doesn't matter if you cultivate celestial energy or origin energy. As long as you have heaven and earth energy, all injuries will be instantly healed. I don't have much of this pill left, so you can choose to take it now or save it for a crisis in the future." As Wang Wei spoke, he coldly looked at Bei Luo. Not only did he not have much of this pill, he only had 3. One was with Huan, and 2 were with him. Greed appeared in Bei Luo's eyes the moment he saw the green pill. He was too familiar with this green pill. Back then, he and the ancient devil had ambushed Qing Lin. With Qing Lin's strange injuries, consuming this pill wouldn't have much of an effect, but it would still have some effect. As a result, it created a lot of resistance for the ancient devil and ancient demon, and it was the main reason why the ancient demon failed in the end. The fact that he gave you this pill means that his relationship with Wang Lin is very good. It also means that his celestial cloud cultivation partner still has some of this pill, although I don't know if it's true or false. If they really fight, it will be troublesome. Bei Luo withdrew his gaze from the pill. Holding the pill, Wang Lin didn't immediately consume it, but put it inside his bag. With Huan leading the way, everyone charged toward the black fog at the center of the 6th floor. Zhou, he still floated next to Wang Lin. Wang Lin was the weakest and needed someone to protect him, so Zhou, he naturally wouldn't leave. Soon, the black fog closed in. Bei Luo stared at the black fog with hatred in his eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that he failed back then, ancient devil Ta Jia wouldn't have taken the initiative. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. How can that Qing Lin be so easy to deal with? I fear Ta Jia hasn't succeeded yet, or else he would have already left. After stepping into the palace, Wang Lin immediately saw a giant stone tablet on the ground. This stone tablet was about 20 feet tall, and there was no word on it, only a palm print. Wang Wei looked at Bei Luo and calmly said, "The last 3 floors are teacher's closed-door cultivation palace. I don't know if there are any changes inside. In order to make it easier for us to move, it is best to wait a bit longer." Wang Wei looked at Bello and calmly said, Wang Lin, you can heal first. That way, you'll have the power to protect yourself in the last 3 floors. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He still couldn't see through the celestial cloud cultivation partner. They weren't in a rush to enter, but were waiting for others to arrive. There was also ancient demon Bei Luo. He didn't even ask. It was as if he had the same idea. Zhou, he floated next to Wang Lin and used the sword spirit's special method to send a message to him. Don't think too much about it and focus on healing. The 2 of them are strange. I've already seen through this, but they won't harm you or me. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he sat down. He didn't take the green pill, but took out the other herbs he had obtained. After carefully looking at them, he swallowed them one by one and closed his eyes to heal. Although he was healing, he didn't seal his divine sense. Although it would affect his healing speed, he had to do it here. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 7 days went by. During these 7 days, Wang Wei and Huan had already sat down as if they were cultivating. As for ancient demon Bei Luo, he was the same. Wang Lin let out a breath of foul air. His injuries had recovered slightly, but there were still hidden dangers. Fortunately, he had enough herbs. Wang Lin took out some more and swallowed them after checking them. However, his divine sense was still spread out and locked onto the entrance. He was waiting for Master Void to arrive. In Wang Lin's view, Master Void's group of 3 should be the first to arrive at the 6th floor. Time seemed to last forever in this hall, and one would unknowingly forget the passage of time. After taking a large amount of herbs, Wang Lin's injuries gradually recovered. Today was the 27th day they had waited inside the hall. It was about noon when Wang Wei and Huan, who had been cultivating, opened their eyes at the same time and looked at the entrance. Ancient demon Bei Luo was 1 step ahead of them and looked at the entrance. A fluctuation came from Wang Lin's divine sense. He opened his eyes and revealed a strange light as he looked at the entrance. At the entrance of the hall, a person slowly walked in. It was a woman surrounded by countless snowflakes. The snowflakes danced around her and looked extremely gorgeous. It's her. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. The first person to enter the 6th floor was not one of Master Void's group of 3, but the woman in pink who was suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess. Her expression was calm as she stepped into the hall. Her beautiful eyes swept the hall, and her gaze lingered on Wang Lin. She didn't speak and sat down in the corner. Less than half an incense stick of time after the woman sat down, Wang Lin's divine sense fluctuated once more. He looked outside the hall and saw 3 figures appear. Master Void, the beautiful middle-aged woman, and the person in black. The moment the 3 of them entered the hall, they attracted everyone's attention. Master Void immediately saw Wang Lin, and monstrous killing intent appeared in his eyes. The moment he saw Wang Lin also saw Master Void. Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and he calmly said, "Great ancient demon, he is the one who injured me." The moment Wang Lin spoke, Wang Wei and Huan suddenly looked at Master Void. Ancient demon Bei Luo also looked at Master Void with a smile that wasn't a smile. There was a flash of killing intent in Zhou Yi's eyes. He quietly took a few steps forward and closed the distance between him and Master Void. As long as he was given a chance, he would immediately attack. He would use his newly formed immortal spirit sense to display terrifying power and help Wang Lin vent his anger. This sudden scene caused Master Void to suck in a breath of cold air. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and his heart pounded rapidly. He didn't think that in just a few months, Wang Lin would use some unknown method to make these people attack him. The celestial cloud couple and the strange bald man gave him the feeling that even at his peak, he would have to be cautious. Not to mention right now he was seriously injured and had lost half of his origin soul. His cultivation level had fallen from the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Shatterer. He didn't dare to move or retreat. At this moment, he was locked on by everyone in the hall. It was likely that if he moved, he would face the attack of everyone's thunder. This old man is an elder of the Alliance Star System Cultivation Alliance, Master Void. Head elder is Master Zhongxian's junior apprentice brother. Fellow cultivators, What is the meaning of this? Master Void forced himself to remain calm and even brought up the Cultivation Alliance, asking for votes at the beginning of the month. Chapter 1054. Cultivation Alliance. Wang Wei coldly looked at Master Void and shook his head. What high status? Huan smiled and casually looked at Master Void. She and her husband had never considered the Cultivation Alliance a threat. It wasn't that Master Zhongxian's cultivation level wasn't high or that the Cultivation Alliance was weak. It was just that they had their own pride. In particular, Wang Wei's proud personality was something even back in the Celestial Realm knew about. However, after countless years, Wang Wei's personality had been deeply suppressed and would no longer be easily revealed. However, the pride in his bones was something that not even time could erase. Wang Wei and Huan were the disciples of the strongest person in the Celestial Realm, Celestial Emperor Qinglin. Even back when the Celestial Realm still existed, they were very famous. When the two of them became famous, the Cultivation Alliance didn't exist yet. They were just a group of lower realm cultivators. Even ancient demon Bei Lu grinned, and his eyes were filled with mockery. As an ancient demon, he naturally had his own mockery of the Cultivation Alliance. When he became famous in the outer realm, the inner realm was still under the control of the Celestial Realm. Moreover, although he had been trapped in the demon spirit land for countless years, he had learned a lot about the Cultivation Alliance from the cultivators that had come here. In fact, he knew more about the Cultivation Alliance than most people. Your senior brother, Zhong Xianzi, is a formidable person. It's said that before the Celestial Realm collapsed, he was one of the best Qi refinement cultivators in the lower realms. When the Celestial Realm suffered a great calamity and was completely destroyed, he risked his life to be the first to charge into the Celestial Realm. He fought with the Azure Dragon of the Four Divine Sect and many other famous Qi refinement cultivators. In the end, he used some unknown method to obtain a majority of the Celestial Realm's inheritances. That's how the Cultivation Alliance was formed. Bello, admire such a person, but you... Bello shook his head, the ridicule in his eyes becoming more intense. Master Void's expression was gloomy. The gazes of the three people before him made him very angry, but he suppressed it. He pointed at Wang Lin and said, I have a personal grudge with this junior. Since fellow cultivators have come, let's put this matter aside for now. The old man promised that he wouldn't look for trouble with this junior in this cave. I presume fellow cultivators are here to enter the next floor together, so there is no need to damage our relationship. If it affects our progress to the next floor, it is not worth it. Master Void's mind spun rapidly as he spoke. His words were very calculated. First, he showed weakness, and then he promised not to cause trouble for Wang Lin here. He also pointed out that they should look at the big picture and that there was no need to start a fight here. With his identity and cultivation level, it was something that had never happened in Master Void's life to force him to say. His anger was now all on Wang Lin. Although his killing intent was hidden, it was even stronger than before. The man in black beside Master Void silently walked out and sat down in the distance. It was obvious he didn't want to participate. Only the beautiful middle-aged woman stood beside Master Void with a pale face. Wang Wei's cold gaze withdrew from Master Void. Although killing Master Void wasn't difficult, it would still be troublesome. After all, Master Void was a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Although he was seriously injured, he was still Master Zhong Xian's junior brother, so he must have some life-saving spells and treasures. Right now, saving his teacher was the most important, and there was no need to rush killing this person for Wang Lin. Seeing that this matter was about to calm down, Master Void let out a sigh of relief. However, just at this moment, Wang Lin stood up. The moment he stood up, Master Void's pupils shrank, and he stared at Wang Lin. The moment he looked at Wang Lin, Zhou Yi, who was next to Wang Lin, gave off a cold light. He was like a sharp sword that had been drawn out of its scabbard. He turned into a ray of sword energy and shot toward Master Void. The moment Zhou Yi charged out, Wang Lin stepped out. His right hand formed a seal, and flames appeared in his eyes. As he flew out, a flame rosefinch appeared before him. This rosefinch let out a hiss and flapped its wings as it charged at Master Void along with Zhou Yi's sword energy. "You're courting death." Killing intent appeared in Master Void's eyes, and he waved his right hand. An earth-yellow vortex appeared and swept forward. Wang Wei originally didn't want to make a move at this moment, but seeing that Zhou Yi and Wang Lin had already attacked, he knew that if he didn't make a move, Wang Lin and Zhou Yi would be in danger. Zhou Yi couldn't die, and Wang Lin had given him Qing Shuang's body, so he couldn't die either. While letting out a sigh, Wang Wei pointed forward and a curtain of blue water appeared. It gave off a 5-color glow and charged forward. It was so fast that it instantly appeared before Master Void's earth-yellow vortex. Wang Wei calmly said, "Seal." The moment he said one word, the 5-colored curtain of water turned into water vapor and scattered. However, it firmly surrounded the earth-yellow vortex and then immediately shrank. Popping sounds echoed as all the water vapor was absorbed into the earth-yellow vortex. The vortex seemed to stop rotating, and then it collapsed into countless specks of sand that scattered in all directions. Master Void's plan was ruined by Wang Lin's attack. Master Void couldn't help but be a bit shocked by Wang Lin's boldness and scheming. Master Void knew that he wouldn't have been able to do something like this when he was Wang Lin's age. Even among the juniors he had met, it was rare for them to be like this. The collapse of the yellow vortex allowed the vermilion bird formed by Wang Lin's spell to charge out. It pierced through the collapsed sand and released monstrous flames at Master Void. The endless heat waves spread out and shot toward Master Void. Master Void didn't care about Wang Lin's attack unless he took out the iron sword again. What he cared about was Wang Wei, Huan, and Bei Lu. At this moment, facing Wang Lin's attack, Master Void slapped his bag of holding and a small, black bag appeared in his hand. He slapped it and purple ash appeared. The moment the purple ash appeared, it turned into something like a quagmire. There was also a rotting aura that surrounded Wang Lin and Zhou Yi. Bello grinned and quickly took a step forward. With this step, he appeared next to the quagmire. He took a deep breath at the quagmire, and a whistling sound immediately echoed. The quagmire was sucked into Bello's mouth, as if it was being sucked in by a whale. Bei Lu's eyes were filled with greed as he licked his lips. He closed in on Master Void, and his right hand mercilessly reached out. Master Void's expression changed greatly, and he retreated without hesitation. His hands formed a seal and pushed forward, causing thunderous rumbles to echo across the hall. At this moment, the rose finch formed by Wang Lin's spell instantly closed in. It charged out from the side with a powerful heat wave. Master Void let out a roar, and his origin soul flew out from his body. As Wang Lin's rose finch closed in, Master Void's right hand pointed at it. With his powerful cultivation, this finger caused the vermilion bird to explode into countless flames that scattered in all directions. At the same time, Master Void didn't stop at all. He dodged to the side in an attempt to get rid of Bei Lu. However, Bei Lu was even faster as he chased Master Void through the hall. Popping sounds echoed, and every time a popping sound echoed, Master Void's face would become a bit more pale. Bei Lu chased after Master Void, and demonic energy surged out from his body. Often, he didn't even need to form a seal to cast demonic spells. The layers of spells were enough to dazzle anyone who saw them. Master Void didn't even have the ability to fight back and could only passively retreat. What gave Master Void a headache was that after the collapsed Rose Finch turned into flames, it reformed into Rose Finch. The flames were even more intense than before, and it charged at Master Void once more. No matter how much Master Void and Bei Lu tried to destroy the vermilion bird, the moment it was destroyed, the flames would reform. It was as if the vermilion bird was an immortal soul. Zhou Yi turned into a ray of sword energy and chased after Master Void. However, he wouldn't carelessly get close to Master Void. Once he found an opportunity, he would charge out. The beautiful woman's eyes were filled with hesitation. She was about to go up and help, but Wang Lin suddenly looked at her. His cold gaze made her think of what Wang Lin had said to her and the terrifying power of that iron sword. She subconsciously avoided Wang Lin's gaze, and the thought of helping was extinguished. Master Void's face became even more pale. If this was it, it wouldn't be a big deal, but what made Master Void even more anxious was that Wang Wei had also stood up and formed a pincer attack with Bei Lu. Both of them had locked onto Master Void. Seeing that Wang Wei was about to attack, Master Void anxiously roared. If fellow cultivators don't participate in this matter, then the old man won't take anything from this trip to the Celestial Emperor Cave. I promise to help you break all the seals in the Celestial Emperor Cave. Wang Wei's eyes narrowed, and even Bei Lu's eyes narrowed. His pursuit paused for a moment. Just at this moment, another fluctuation came from outside the hall. Someone had arrived, and the All-Seer slowly walked in. Behind him, Ling Tianho and the old man on the gourd walked in. After seeing what was happening inside the hall, Ling Tianho was startled. Only Tian Yunzi revealed a look of understanding and looked at Master Void with a smile that wasn't a smile. Tian Yunzi, help me. Master Void's body flickered, and he was about to retreat. However, just as he was about to retreat, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal, and the reformed Rose Finch moved. It didn't charge at Master Void, but collapsed into countless flames. Just at this instant, the sword energy formed by Zhou Yi gave off a fierce aura like never before. There was also the aura of a pseudo-Nirvana Void treasure as it charged at Master Void, who was surrounded by flames. Chapter 1055. Master Void suddenly turned around, and his right hand formed a seal to use a spell. However, just at this moment, Tian Yunzi's lips moved, and the spell Master Void was about to use suddenly stopped. It was as if an invisible force had interrupted his spell. Master Void's expression changed greatly. At this instant, the sword energy formed by Zhou Yi pierced through the flames toward Master Void. It was too fast, and in a flash, it landed on Master Void's chest. A thunderous bang echoed across the hall. Master Void coughed out a mouthful of blood and retreated a few steps. When he landed on the ground, cracking sounds came from where he landed, and the ground collapsed into dust. The sword energy dissipated and turned back into Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi's face was pale, and his body was almost transparent. A large amount of spiritual energy had disappeared from his body, and he looked like he could disappear at any moment. It was obvious that the attack that had injured Master Void had also injured Zhou Yi. After Zhou Yi retreated, he stood next to Wang Wei and Hu Wan and sent a message to Wang Lin. Wang Lin, my sword energy couldn't kill him, but it caused his previous injuries to worsen. After he finished speaking, Zhou Yi sat cross-legged to the side and quickly began to heal his injuries. He even took out a pill from somewhere and swallowed it. This pill was specially prepared for spiritual bodies. It was not a pill, but a ball of spiritual energy that flowed through it. Master Void's face was deathly pale. His internal injuries were already serious, and he had been suppressing them so they wouldn't continue to worsen. However, Zhou Yi's desperate attack had caused his injuries to erupt once more and his cultivation level to fall once more. Although he hadn't reached the early stage of Nirvana Shatterer, if it continued to worsen, he wouldn't be far from it. This was the first time he, who had such a high cultivation level, felt cold. His body trembled as he retreated a few more steps. His right hand formed a seal and pointed at himself several times to barely suppress his injuries. However, this action caused him to cough out blood once more. His face was ferocious. He wasn't looking at Wang Lin or Zhou Yi, but at Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi's expression was neutral. He didn't feel any discomfort toward Master Void's gaze and calmly said, "Fellow Cultivator Void, only the current you will make the old man dare to help you." With that, Tian Yunzi looked at Wang Wei and Hu Wan and clasped his hands. I hope the Celestial Cloud couple will sell out to the old man. Today, we will forget all our personal grudges and head to the next floor. How about it? Ling Tianho's expression was gloomy. How could he not see Tian Yunzi's secret attack? He silently stood next to Master Void and coldly looked at Wang Lin and company. There was also the old man on the gourd who coldly looked at everyone. However, his position clearly showed that he would stand on the side of the heavenly fate realm and Master Void. At the same time, the woman in pink who was suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess stood up and walked next to Master Void. Her beautiful eyes swept by and finally fell on Wang Lin. She softly said, "Wang Daoyu, put this matter aside for now. Once we leave this place, my brilliant Void Realm will not participate in the matter between the two of you." Right now, aside from the person in black, everyone else seemed to be on the same side. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he clasped his hands at Wang Wei. "Junior's matter is fine. Senior, please decide." Although Wang Wei was a bit unhappy that Wang Lin had acted early, seeing that Wang Lin was very tactful, he nodded. Then his gaze fell on Tian Yunzi and company, and he calmly said, "Okay, let's put aside our personal grudges for now. The last 3 floors are filled with danger, so fellow cultivators, don't hold back. Once we enter, we'll meet at the center of the 7th floor." After Wang Wei finished speaking, the All-Seer and the others nodded with a smile. Huan walked up to the stone and placed her jade-like hand on it. She gently pressed down, and the stone began to shine with a purple light. The ground began to rumble as if it was shaking. In the blink of an eye, large cracks appeared on the ground of the hall, and it collapsed, revealing a place that was as bright as the starry sky below. Everyone immediately charged into it and disappeared. As for Zhou Yi, he was brought by Wang Wei into the starry sky transfer array below. The 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave was completely different from the first 6 floors. There were no buildings here, only a sea of fire. It was like a world of its own. In the middle of this small space was an erupting volcano. A large amount of black fog pervaded the surroundings, and loud rumbling sounds reverberated continuously. Occasionally, thick flames would spew out from the volcano and fall from the sky like rain. The ground seemed to be cracked into countless pieces, floating above the magma. Bursts of black gas would occasionally rise from the magma, giving off intense heat. After everyone was teleported here, they immediately separated and landed in different locations. Wang Lin's body flickered, and he appeared here. The moment he saw his surroundings, he frowned. Something's wrong. Everything here was completely different from the 7th floor described in the map. There was no similarity at all. Wang Lin's eyes were gloomy as he looked into the distance. He saw Huan looking around 1,000 feet away, and there was also confusion in her eyes. When Wang Lin looked at her, Huan also looked at Wang Lin. She had long guessed that Wang Lin might have had a great fortune and was very familiar with the Celestial Emperor Cave. Seeing the doubt in Wang Lin's eyes, she revealed a bitter smile and shook her head. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. Looking at Huan's expression, it didn't seem fake. It was clear that she was also very confused about the changes here. This place is flat with only one volcano. I presume the entrance to the 8th floor is inside this volcano. Huan's voice spread out and entered everyone's ears. Master Void was in the distance, and his face was pale. Even under the light of the fire, there was no trace of redness on his face. His right hand was on his chest, and bursts of pain came from it. There was also a strange sword energy in the wound that prevented it from completely healing. Tian Yunzi, Wang Lin, and that sword spirit. The old man will remember this. If I don't pay them back 10 times, 100 times over, the old man will not be satisfied. He looked around gloomily. Damn it, even this Celestial Emperor Cave can't get past the old man. There is such dense fire origin energy here. I fear it will benefit that little bastard. Master Void roared in his heart, and it took him a while to recover. However, his mind trembled and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. My cultivation level, falling unexpectedly, caused my state of mind to change. How can I be so easily angry? Master Void took a deep breath and suppressed the irritation in his heart. He forced himself to calm down. Wang Wei took a step forward and arrived at Huan's side. The two of them turned into 2 rays of light and flew toward the volcano. At this moment, Tian Yunzi and company also got up and charged toward the volcano. The beautiful woman, the old man on the gourd, and the person in black flew up at the same time. Master Void coldly looked at Wang Lin and also flew up. Wang Lin casually stepped forward. He knew that his cultivation level couldn't compare to the old monsters before him, so he naturally wouldn't take the lead and slowly moved forward. In the distance, there was also a person slowly moving forward. It was the woman in pink that was suspected to be the brilliant Void Saintess. Her beautiful gaze fell on Wang Lin, and she stopped as if she was waiting for Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was cold. When he saw the woman in pink stop, he circled around her. He didn't want to spend too much time with her and gradually closed in on the volcano. When the woman in pink saw Wang Lin circle around her, she let out a snort and ignored him. She turned into a ray of light and flew toward the volcano. Seeing the woman in pink leave, there was a flash of mysterious light in Wang Lin's eyes. Although this place was different from the map, Wang Lin saw some traces of celestial jades on the cracked ground. It was obvious that countless years ago, this place was the 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. However, due to an unimaginable change, this place had turned into a sea of fire and ruins. Looking at the towering volcano before him, Wang Lin closed his eyes and his divine sense spread out. After a long time, he opened his eyes and was even more certain of his guess. This volcano didn't appear out of thin air. It was moved here by a spell. The closer he got, the more his guess was confirmed. At the foot of the volcano, Wang Lin could clearly see that the structure of the volcano was completely different from the ground. I'm sure the others have also noticed the strangeness of this volcano. Standing at the foot of the volcano, Wang Lin wasn't in a hurry to go up. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and looked around with sparkling eyes. In the end, his gaze fell on the flowing magma in the huge crack on the ground beside him. The intense heat didn't make Wang Lin feel any discomfort. Instead, he felt extremely comfortable. Even the origin energy in his body seemed to become active. The changes in this place, on the other hand, have other benefits for me. Wang Lin lowered his right hand and dipped it into the magma in the crack. He immediately felt a dense fire elemental origin energy fill the magma. It seemed endless. His right hand was submerged in the magma, and the high temperature was very comfortable for him. With a thought, the origin energy in his body suddenly began to circulate, forming a vortex in his body. As the vortex spun, a suction force immediately came from Wang Lin's body. With his right hand as a bridge, the fire elemental origin energy in the magma surged and was slowly absorbed into Wang Lin's body through his right hand. I've learned 3 of Immortal Emperor Baifan's 6 great spells, but according to Senior Brother Shimizu, the last 3 forms are the true essence of Baifan's spells. The first form of the last 3 forms, Landslide. I saw Senior Brother Shimizu use it in the Slaughter Domain, and it was extremely similar to a volcanic eruption. Wang Lin pondered as he absorbed the fire elemental origin energy while looking at the majestic volcano in front of him. To Wang Lin's right, the black-robed man with the hidden black dragon mark also didn't enter the volcano. Instead, he sat cross-legged in the distance and reached his left hand into the magma. Like Wang Lin, he was also absorbing the fire elemental origin energy in the magma. His gaze would occasionally look at Wang Lin with wariness and hostility. Fire Rosefinch. If I can swallow Fire Rosefinch, will my fire dragon awaken a second time? Chapter 1056. The 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave was filled with fire origin energy, especially the magma. As Wang Lin absorbed it, a large amount of fire origin energy flowed into his body and circulated around his origin soul, nourishing his origin soul that had adapted to the fire origin energy. An extremely comfortable feeling appeared in Wang Lin's body. Although he had used a lot of pills on the 6th floor and his injuries had healed, they hadn't completely recovered. As he absorbed the fire origin energy here, Wang Lin's injuries began to recover. Although the recovery was slow, it gave Wang Lin hope. However, most of the people had already entered the volcano. Wang Lin sighed. During the month he was healing on the 6th floor, he had asked Wang Wei about the cure for the desire for immortality poison. However, back in the celestial world, Wang Wei and Huan rarely came into contact with poisons. They had heard of the poison of desire for immortality and knew a little about it, but they didn't know the specifics. As a result, The hope of curing Situnan's poison was still on Celestial Emperor Qing Lin or Qing Xuan. Knowing that he couldn't stay on the 7th floor for too long, Wang Lin took a deep breath. The origin energy in his body formed a vortex, and an even more powerful suction force appeared. After absorbing some fire origin energy from the magma, Wang Lin pulled his right hand out and jumped toward the entrance at the top of the volcano. The moment Wang Lin got up, the black-clothed man also jumped up and headed toward the top of the volcano from another direction. Wang Lin had long since noticed that the black-clothed man could absorb fire origin energy like him. The black-clothed man also had a mark on his forehead, which made Wang Lin very cautious. Wang Lin's speed wasn't fast. Like a gentle breeze, he slowly arrived at the top of the volcano. There was a huge crater here, and thick, black smoke came out of it and spread in all directions. There was also a high temperature. Even the rocks near the crater had been corroded over the years. Although they hadn't collapsed, they were completely red. It was a shocking sight. Standing at the mouth of the volcano, Wang Lin floated above the red rocks. His expression was calm, and the high temperature didn't bring him any discomfort. He looked down and saw that the mouth of the volcano was shrouded in red flames. There was also ghost-like black smoke that would occasionally rush out from the mouth of the volcano and head up. Without hesitation, Wang Lin took a step forward and charged into the crater like a meteor. Along the way, Wang Lin's divine sense spread out in a straight line. As he charged in, the black smoke immediately dissipated. Waves of heat landed on Wang Lin's face and were quickly absorbed by the pores on his body. Then they turned into strands of origin energy that entered his body. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light, and he descended even faster. Behind him, the black-clothed man also descended, but he maintained a certain distance from Wang Lin. He didn't want to be too close and attract Wang Lin's killing intent. Through the short contact he had with Wang Lin, the black-clothed man knew that Wang Lin was not ordinary. Wang Lin was decisive, ruthless, and cunning. Even Master Void had suffered many setbacks against him, and now his cultivation level had fallen greatly. If it was anyone else in Wang Lin's position, it would be very difficult for them to move freely among so many powerful cultivators like Wang Lin. Wang Lin was even able to suppress Master Void, making it difficult for him to advance or retreat. Thinking about this, the fear in the black-clothed man's heart became even stronger, especially when he recalled what happened on the first floor. Wang Lin's arrogant words and aura that forced Master Void to retreat were still fresh in the black-clothed man's mind. Moreover, although he could absorb fire origin energy here, compared to Rosefinch, who had all the fire spirits in the world, he was still inferior. Devouring this person. Difficult, difficult, difficult. The black-clothed man sighed in his heart. Wang Lin naturally didn't know what the black-clothed man was thinking. He was moving faster and faster as he continued to absorb the surging heat waves. As he descended, the heat waves became stronger and stronger. Countless cracks appeared on the walls of the volcano, and they were no longer red but dark. It was obvious that there was more fire poison in them. The walls of the volcano were not smooth, and there were places where there were protrusions. Wang Lin landed on one of the protrusions. There were many cracks on this rock, and it was dark red. There was also black smoke coming out of it. The moment Wang Lin landed on this rock, large amounts of rubble fell off and sank into the endless red rock. The moment his body landed, Wang Lin fiercely inhaled, and the heat waves that were erupting from below were all sucked into Wang Lin's mouth. It was as if Wang Lin was devouring a sea of fire. The heat waves turned corporeal and were absorbed into Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin took a step back, and his face became red, but his eyes were extremely bright. The origin energy in his body cycled like crazy, constantly digesting the fire energy. Half an incense stick of time later, Wang Lin looked up and let out a cold snort before descending deeper into the volcano. Shortly after Wang Lin left, the black-clothed man landed on this protruding rock, and there was a flash of terror in his eyes. Devouring fire origin energy like this person is really a madman. The origin energy of fire was the most tyrannical and the black-clothed man knew that he wouldn't dare to devour it like this, so he could only guide it and absorb it. Wang Lin's speed increased, and it didn't take long for him to reach the bottom of the volcano. His gaze pierced through the heat, waves, and smoke, and he saw everything below. The bottom of the volcano was filled with dark red magma. This magma formed a sea, and bubbles would occasionally appear. Every time a bubble popped, a large wave of heat would immediately rush out from the bubble and rush upwards. Black smoke floated up, and under the push of the heat waves, it curled up and erupted. Above the sea of magma, there was a palace stuck between the walls of the volcano. This palace looked exactly like the entrance to the first 6 floors. But at this moment, the palace's doors were closed, and there was a complicated script written in black blood. The script looked like a rune, but at the same time, it didn't seem like it. From its appearance, it gave off a sense of madness, and the strokes of the pen gave off an aura that could flip the heavens and reverse the universe. The moment he saw this script, Wang Lin's pupil shrank. He immediately recognized this script. It was the language of the ancient gods, as well as the language of the ancient demons and ancient devils. Devil. This was a word, devil. Outside the palace, Wang Wei, Huan, Bei Luo, and company, along with Tian Yunzi and Master Void, were split into 2 groups. They floated in the air and stared at the door of the palace. Ling Tianho, the old man on the gourd, and the beautiful woman were all using their own spells to attack the gate. Bursts of rumbles echoed, but due to the heat wave, the echoes seemed to be fragmented and couldn't travel too far, let alone form an echo. Wang Lin's arrival immediately caused Master Void to raise his head. His eyes were filled with killing intent, but he quickly suppressed it. Wang Lin's body flickered, and he floated next to Wang Wei and Huan. He stared at the palace door and frowned. At this moment, Ling Tianho let out a roar, and the 5 origin swords appeared behind him. They closed in on the door, and the word devil on the door flashed violently, but it wasn't damaged at all. The old man can't open the seal on the entrance to the 8th floor. Ling Tianho let out a cold snort and retreated. The beautiful woman and the old man on the gourd also shook their heads and gave up. Wang Wei and Huan also frowned. They had tried to break the seal earlier, but they couldn't. With the seal there, they couldn't enter the palace. Wang Lin stared at the word devil on the palace door. He knew that, with his cultivation level, he didn't need to do anything before these old monsters. He retreated and sat down on a protruding rock not far away. He closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Although he was cultivating, his divine sense was still on guard. Not far away from Wang Lin, the woman in pink was standing on a slightly lower rock. Countless snowflakes were floating around her, resisting the high temperature. Even the rock under her feet seemed to be frozen. Time slowly passed. The person in black behind Wang Lin had arrived a long time ago. He carefully floated to the side and silently stared at the palace. The word devil on the palace door contained an unimaginable sealing force. Everyone, including Wang Wei, Huan, Tian Yunzi, and Bei Lu, all attacked one after another. In the end, the attacks from both sides were endless. Thunderous rumbles echoed and unexpectedly broke through the heat waves. The echoes echoed inside the volcano and caused large amounts of rubble to fall from above. The rumbling grew louder as the mystic arts continued to attack. In the end, the rumbling became one, and even outside the volcano, one could hear the muffled rumbling coming from within. In the end, under Bellow's attack, the combined power of everyone's divine abilities immediately turned into a storm that swept towards the palace. An earth-shattering boom rang out, and the entire volcano seemed to tremble. The magma below surged up like angry waves, as if the earth was quaking and the mountains were shaking. The word devil on the palace door immediately collapsed. The door opened. However, just at the moment the door opened, a shocking change occurred. Today was the 4th hour, and once I finish writing, I'll update. Chapter 10:57. The moment the word devil disappeared and the door of the palace opened, the sea of magma below immediately began to churn violently. Muffled roars rushed out from the magma, and at the same time, the sea of magma actually split open with a bang. It was as if waves were surging into the sky, and they directly charged upwards. It was as if there was an irreconcilable force pushing the magma into the air. A volcano erupted. The temperature was several times higher than before, and the moment the magma rushed out, it increased exponentially. The surrounding rocks immediately shattered due to the high temperature, and before they could fall off, they turned into a cloud of black gas that rose into the sky. At this moment, if one looked at the volcano from the outside, they would immediately feel the ground rumbling and shaking. The volcano also seemed to be shaking. Large amounts of black smoke crazily spewed out from the mouth of the volcano with an aura that was countless times more intense than before. It rushed into the heavens and the earth, forming a ring that kept spreading in all directions. It was as if the black smoke wanted to cover the sky. In reality, this was indeed the case. As a large amount of black smoke was continuously spat out, the sky was almost instantly filled with rolling black smoke. Not even the slightest bit of light could be seen, causing the entire land to be enveloped in darkness. Only the magma, flowing from the cracks on the ground, emitted a scarlet-red light that vaguely illuminated the surroundings. At the instant the door opened, Belu charged out of the volcano, and as the lava surged into the sky, he entered the palace. Behind him, the people around him also charged out one after another. However, they were still a step too late. The magma surged into the sky, and if that was all, it would not have caught the attention of these powerful cultivators. However, just as they charged out and the magma passed by them, a ferocious arm reached out from the dark red magma and grabbed the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman let out a cry of alarm and wanted to dodge, but her body was too slow under the arm. She was instantly surrounded by the flames and dragged into the magma. This sudden scene caused the hearts of the surrounding cultivators to tremble. However, this was not the end. As the magma surged into the sky, an angry roar came from the magma. It turned into a sonic boom that caused the surrounding rocks to collapse once more. As the angry roar echoed, a purplish-red coffin appeared from the sea of magma below. The moment the coffin floated out of the magma, the roar from the coffin became even stronger. Wang Wei and Huan's expressions changed greatly. They clearly knew what the coffin was. Without any hesitation, they formed seals with their hands and joined them together. Their bodies immediately became transparent, and they passed everyone else as they charged into the hall. At the instant he entered the hall, the coffin shattered with a bang and turned into countless fragments that flew in all directions. They immediately landed on everyone. At the same time, an old man in a red robe walked out from the shattered coffin. There was no vitality in the red-robed old man, only death aura. After he appeared, he charged into the palace. Tian Yunzi's eyes lit up, and he opened his mouth slightly, as if he was saying something. The red-robed old man suddenly stopped. Taking advantage of this pause, Tian Yunzi waved his sleeve and charged into the palace. However, just at this moment, the red-robed old man's body suddenly collapsed. A roar came from his collapsed body, and as it roared, a sea of fire appeared. The moment the sea of fire appeared, it turned into a giant fire dragon that charged at everyone. The woman in pink, surrounded by snow, was pale. After she left the rock she was on, she was about to charge into the palace. However, before she could enter, she was devoured by the fire dragon. She turned into a ray of light and was sucked into the fire dragon. Everyone was charging into the palace at an extremely fast speed and had no time to care about anyone else. Wang Lin had already left the rock the moment the coffin appeared and charged into the palace. However, just as he was about to enter, Master Void suddenly turned around and coldly stared at Wang Lin. Before Master Void could act, the fire dragon let out a roar and devoured Wang Lin. The fire dragon was so large that it devoured the palace in one gulp. Wang Lin was surrounded by a powerful suction force and was devoured by the fire dragon along with the palace. The fire dragon devoured everything. With a twist of its body, it dived into the magma. As it tumbled about, the magma immediately surged even more violently. Booming sounds echoed in the air, causing the magma to rise higher and faster. In the end, a large amount of magma gushed out from the mouth of the volcano. It filled the sky and earth, and when it fell, it turned into burning balls of fire that fell with loud rumbles on the ground. Only after long while did everything come to an end. The volcano stopped erupting, and only endless black smoke continued to rise. Within the volcano, the magma gradually decreased, and as it sank, it once again became silent at the bottom of the volcano. However, the hall had disappeared just like that. At this moment, in the deepest part of this ocean of magma, the palace that had been swallowed by the fire dragon suddenly appeared. However, the outside of the palace was completely covered in magma. As such, even within the palace, one could still feel the intense heat. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the distance in the magma sea outside the palace. Not only did the heat from the magma not injure him, it even healed his injuries. This magma was very thick, so when Wang Lin was inside, he immediately felt an indescribable amount of fire origin energy. The rosefinch tattoo on his body gave off a red glow, and bursts of rosefinch's voice echoed. He sat down cross-legged and gradually sank to the bottom of the magma. He was about 10,000 feet away from the palace, and as his hands formed a seal, dense fire origin energy was immediately absorbed into his body from the magma. As he absorbed, Wang Lin's body became rosy. Time passed slowly, and after an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin opened his eyes. The surroundings were quiet. The origin energy in his body did not stagnate, but increased instead. As he muttered to himself, Wang Lin did not leave immediately. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and continued to meditate. This opportunity was very precious to him. It would be very difficult to find a place with such dense fire origin energy. Wang Lin closed his eyes and continued to absorb the fire origin energy. As time passed, the magma gradually decreased under Wang Lin's absorption. During this period of time, Wang Lin woke up 3 times. Each time, it was because of the violent fluctuations in the surrounding magma, which led to the eruption of the volcano. Each time he woke up, he would carefully observe the eruption. Once the eruption was over, he would once again immerse himself in absorbing. On this day, Wang Lin woke up for the 4th time. There was still a large amount of fire origin energy in the magma, but Wang Lin did not dare to absorb any more. As he continued to absorb the origin energy, he gradually became one with the magma. As a result, he could faintly sense that there was a mysterious spirit within the magma. If he absorbed too much, it would be easy to disturb this mysterious spirit. According to Wang Lin's analysis, this mysterious spirit should be the fire dragon that had devoured everything. As he pondered, Wang Lin slowly stood up and walked toward the palace in the magma sea. However, he had only taken a few steps when Wang Lin suddenly stopped. He looked into the distance and saw a bubble slowly approaching the palace. After carefully looking at the bubble, Wang Lin's expression became strange. At this moment, the cultivator inside the bubble also saw Wang Lin. There were 2 people inside the bubble. They were the girl in pink and the beautiful middle-aged woman. The beautiful middle-aged woman was unconscious, and her body was covered in red spots. She looked like she was on the brink of death. The snowflakes around the girl in pink had disappeared, but there was a snowflake mark between her eyebrows. It gave off waves of coolness, allowing her to survive inside the bubble. She immediately saw Wang Lin, and her eyes were filled with shock and horror. Although she knew that Wang Lin's rosefinch had awakened, she didn't expect Wang Lin to be uninjured even in the magma sea. It was as if he was walking on flat ground. No wonder those people were so afraid of the 4 divine sect. I didn't think that after this rosefinch awakened, he would have such a terrifying resistance to fire. The girl in pink stared at Wang Lin. She had been in the magma sea for several months and couldn't move too fast. Fortunately, she found the beautiful middle-aged woman, but the middle-aged woman was still unconscious, and her body was filled with the power of fire. She couldn't wake her up. Although she had the treasure her senior sister had given her to protect her, it was still difficult for her to move forward. After several months, she finally found the palace, but she didn't expect to see Wang Lin here. The moment she saw Wang Lin, the girl in pink's heart skipped a beat, and she became anxious. She controlled the bubble to move even faster toward the palace. Due to the sudden acceleration, the bubble became unstable and looked like it was going to collapse. However, the girl in pink couldn't care less and quickly closed the distance between them and the palace. Wang Lin's expression was indifferent as he walked toward the bubble where the girl in pink and the middle-aged woman were. Seeing that he was getting closer, the girl in pink became even more anxious. She couldn't guess what Wang Lin was thinking, but she knew that Wang Lin had a grudge with the middle-aged woman. He must have come here to kill the middle-aged woman. When the girl in pink saw that Wang Lin was less than 100 feet away, she immediately shouted, "Wang Lin, Master Void has a grudge with you, but we have no grudge with you. I'm writing the 3rd chapter. Don't worry, I'm slow. I just finished writing these 2 chapters, and I just started writing the 3rd chapter. I have 3 boxes of cigarettes, a bottle of Red Bull, and 2 bags of coffee. No matter what, I'll be able to write it." Chapter 1058. Wang Lin's expression was still cold as he instantly crossed hundreds of feet and arrived outside the bubble the woman in pink was in. He coldly looked at her and the unconscious beautiful woman. The woman in pink's eyes were filled with vigilance, and the snowflake mark between her eyebrows continued to flash. She was extremely nervous. In this strange and quiet magma, she couldn't stop what Zhao Jioga was doing. The only thing she could rely on was the snowflake mark between her eyebrows. This was a defensive treasure her eldest senior sister had given her. "You're the brilliant Void Saintess?" Wang Lin stared at the woman in pink and calmly sent out his divine sense. His divine sense immediately fused with the magma and created ripples. This caused the bubble the woman in pink was in to fluctuate violently, as if it could collapse at any moment. The woman in pink's face immediately turned pale. She bit her lower lip and shook her head. "I'm not the brilliant Void Saintess. My eldest senior sister is." Wang Lin pointed at the beautiful woman and asked, "What is your relationship with her?" "She's an elder of my brilliant Void realm." The woman in pink didn't dare to not answer. As long as Wang Lin broke the bubble, she might be able to resist the magma with her treasures, but the beautiful middle-aged woman would immediately be engulfed by the magma. This would make her already poisoned body even more serious, and it was likely she would be destroyed. "Master Void had a conflict with you, but we didn't offend you." "You." Before the woman in pink could finish speaking, her pupils shrank, and she quickly retreated a few steps. The snowflake between her eyebrows suddenly appeared before her. As she spoke, Wang Lin had already entered the bubble and stood before the woman in pink. "Put away your treasure." Wang Lin entered the bubble and squatted down. His gaze fell on the unconscious, beautiful woman, and his eyes revealed a strange light. As for the woman in pink, Wang Lin didn't care at all. Even though she had the snowflake treasure, Wang Lin didn't care at all. "What are you doing?" The woman in pink's heart pounded rapidly. When she saw Wang Lin's right hand land between the beautiful woman's eyebrows, she was about to stop him. However, just as she was about to attack, Wang Lin didn't look back. Instead, he casually pointed with his left hand. Noisy. The stop spell was suddenly used, and the woman in pink's body stopped. Although her body was stopped, the snowflakes before her turned into countless fragments and surrounded her, forming a tight defense. Wang Lin no longer paid attention to the woman in pink. Instead, his right index finger pointed between the beautiful woman's eyebrows. Taking advantage of the fact that she was suffering from the fire poison, her origin soul was weak, and she was unconscious. Wang Lin's divine sense rushed into the beautiful woman's body and swept her mind. Scenes of the beautiful woman's memories appeared in Wang Lin's mind. Although the beautiful woman's cultivation level was higher than Wang Lin's, due to all the prerequisites, Wang Lin was able to read her memories with his divine sense. This woman's life or death wasn't important to Wang Lin. What he wanted was her memories. Wang Lin was determined to obtain all the memories related to the brilliant Void Realm. He wanted to understand the brilliant Void Realm. And the real reason he wanted to understand it was because when he reached the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Scryer, his divine sense filled the star system, and he saw the figure that made his heart ache. As his divine sense swept through the beautiful woman's memories, Wang Lin gradually gained some understanding of the brilliant Void Realm. His expression gradually became serious, but none of this was what he wanted. As he continued to search through her memories, the beautiful woman's body began to tremble. Her eyelashes trembled, and her beautiful and mature face revealed a strange redness that could make one's heart skip a beat. Under Wang Lin's soul search, the fire poison in her body could no longer be suppressed and was showing signs of erupting. The woman in pink revealed anxiety in her eyes, and her gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with hatred. However, her cultivation level wasn't high enough, so she couldn't resist Wang Lin's stop spell at all. As his divine sense swept through the beautiful woman's memories, Wang Lin's body trembled. He found what he was looking for. There was an arrogant figure in her memories. This figure was the person Wang Lin was looking at when he was in the brilliant Void Realm. Brilliant Void Saintess Mu Bingmei. Wang Lin revealed a complicated expression and raised his right finger to search through the beautiful woman's memories. The beautiful woman respected the brilliant Void Saintess, but she didn't know much. She only knew that the Saintess cultivated a very strange cultivation method. Almost all the Saintesses cultivated this method, and once they reached completion, they would become the strongest person in the brilliant Void Realm. Unfortunately, this method was extremely difficult to cultivate. Aside from the first-generation Saintess, almost no one had succeeded. Only the seventh-generation Saintess, Mu Bingmei, seemed to have some small success. Mu Bingmei. Bursts of pain came from Wang Lin's mind. He could also feel that Wang Ping, who was inside the heaven-defying bead, showed signs of awakening due to the fluctuations in his mind. Thinking about Wang Ping, Wang Lin felt like his heart was being cut by a knife. Wang Ping always had one wish in his life, but he had only mentioned it once. After he didn't get an answer, he never mentioned it again. He really wanted to see his mother. Wang Lin silently stood up and looked at the woman in pink. From the beautiful woman's memories, Wang Lin knew that this woman was Lu Mei's junior sister, and they also cultivated the same cultivation method. She wasn't an ordinary elder to the beautiful woman. She had watched her grow up and become Lu Mei's junior sister. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and he calmly said, "If I don't save her, she will without a doubt die in one incense stick's worth of time." At this moment, the beautiful woman's entire body was red. This red was a bewitching red. Large amounts of sweat seeped out of her body, but in the blink of an eye, it turned into strands of white mist that floated into the air. If this continued, it wouldn't take long for the beautiful woman to become a dry corpse, and her origin soul would collapse. In truth, even if Wang Lin didn't search her memories, she wouldn't last long. Although she would grow a bit longer, the result would be the same. If you agree, we can make a deal. I'll save her and take the two of you to the 8th floor. You have to let me search your memories." Wang Lin calmly said. He gave this woman a choice. If she agreed, it would be fine. If she didn't agree, then Wang Lin would still act. The woman in pink let out a bitter smile. She could see the determination in Wang Lin's words. She was a smart person, so she naturally knew that Wang Lin was searching her memories for something. After some observation, what he was searching for was definitely related to her senior sister. Even if she didn't agree, it would be useless. The woman in pink nodded and gave up resisting. Wang Lin didn't say anything else. He waved his sleeves and picked up the two women. Then he took a step forward and directly pierced through the bubble. Soon, he arrived at the main hall and stepped into it. After entering, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and he pointed forward. The magma in the hall suddenly surged out. In just a moment, there was no more magma in the hall and the door closed with a bang. Although the magma was gone, the temperature was still very high. Wang Lin waved his sleeves, and the woman in pink and the middle-aged woman landed to the side. His right hand grabbed the middle-aged woman's body. She immediately flew up and landed in front of Wang Lin. Wang Lin's right hand patted the middle-aged woman's body several times. He didn't care that she was a woman. Every time he patted her body, her skin would turn a bit redder. After half an incense stick of time, the woman's body was almost completely red. Wang Lin placed his right hand on the woman's head and inhaled. The fire poison in the woman's body moved like crazy and entered Wang Lin's hand. Gradually, the middle-aged woman's body returned to normal. However, she was still very weak and fell to the side. Now it's your turn. Wang Lin looked at the woman in pink. The pink-robed woman bit her lip. After a moment of silence, she sat down cross-legged on the ground. She tapped her forehead, causing the snowflakes to disappear. Then she closed her eyes and sat there motionlessly. Wang Lin didn't have any tender feelings for the fairer sex. This was just a transaction. His right hand pointed to her forehead, and his divine sense spread out to search her memories. The woman in pink's body trembled, but she clenched her teeth and endured. Although searching her memories would be harmful to her, Wang Lin wasn't a tyrannical person. As long as the woman didn't resist, he wouldn't force his way through. All of this depended on whether the woman in pink had given up all resistance. As he searched, Wang Lin gradually learned more about Mu Bingmei. After a long time, he raised his right hand, and his expression became even more complicated. Heavenly Soul Tao, an illusion that the heavenly Tao has a soul. To cultivate this Tao, one can create countless avatars, experience many experiences, cultivate many different cultivation methods, and obtain countless domains to retain their original heart. In the end, the avatar fuses into one and becomes the Heavenly Soul Tao. The Heavenly Soul Tao was the peak spell in the brilliant Void Realm. Since ancient times, only the first-generation Saintess had succeeded. All the other Saintesses had failed, lost their original heart, and died. This Mu Bingmei was the seventh-generation Saintess, but she had used the ruthless Tao to open a shortcut. After creating an avatar, she didn't keep the avatar's original heart. Instead, she allowed the avatar to live on its own and give birth to a new consciousness. The avatar didn't know the existence of the original body, and only after meeting the requirements could the memory inheritance open and fuse with the original body. The heavenly Tao was ruthless, so the avatars needed to be ruthless as well. She didn't have countless avatars like the previous Saintesses, but only 9. She had chosen these 9 avatars on a cultivation planet after careful calculation. After countless years, the first 8 avatars had all awakened with their virginity intact. However, an accident happened to these 9 avatars in Suzuka. As for what the accident was, the woman in pink didn't know. She only knew that the 9th avatar was named Lu Mei, and her senior sister had fallen into a struggle because of this avatar. She was still writing the 4th chapter, telling herself to work harder and give it her all. She finished drinking the Red Bull, finished drinking the coffee, and still hadn't finished smoking the cigarette. Chapter 1059. The woman in pink's face was pale, her forehead was covered in sweat, and her body immediately weakened. Although this was the case, the memory search didn't do much damage to her, and she would recover after a bit of rest. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He already had the answer he wanted to know about the brilliant Void Saintess. Although it wasn't complete, with Wang Lin's wisdom and understanding, he was still able to see some of the problems. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin's gaze swept the hall, and he found the place to open it. Open this formation, and the 2 of you can enter the 8th floor. Take care. Wang Lin took a step and opened the transfer array. Then his figure disappeared. Although he didn't kill the beautiful woman, he had destroyed all her memories of knowing his secrets. He had also secretly placed a restriction on her. If the beautiful woman continued to pester him, Wang Lin would trigger the restriction and cause her mind to collapse. The moment Wang Lin entered the 8th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, he immediately heard a series of thunderous rumbles in the distance. There were also countless origin energy fluctuations echoing here. The 8th floor was completely dark and shrouded in black fog. His divine sense couldn't spread out, so he couldn't see what was going on in the distance. However, The thunderous rumbles became more and more intense, and there were faint sounds of angry roars echoing. From the sound of it, it seemed to belong to Ling Tianho. Wang Lin's eyes became serious as he carefully listened for a long time. Then he quickly retreated, but just as he retreated, the black fog before him churned and Ling Tianho charged out. At this moment, Ling Tianho was in a sorry state. His face was pale and filled with fear. There was a black palm print on his chest. The palm print had broken his clothes and directly imprinted on his skin. As he moved forward, the black fog rushed toward the palm print. Behind him, a devilish shadow came out from the black fog. It turned the black fog into a giant devil and was about to devour the escaping Ling Tianho. The fear in Ling Tianho's eyes became even stronger, but as he bit down, he suddenly turned around and spat out a mouthful of origin energy. Then he reached out, and a rift appeared in the void. There was a flash of red light, and Ling Tianho's qilin charged out. It let out a roar and charged at the devil. The qilin was also covered in injuries, and a large amount of blood was flowing out. Ling Tianho's eyes were filled with heartache, but at this moment of crisis, he didn't have time to think. He shouted, "Bloodthirst!" As he spoke, he touched the spot between his eyebrows with his right hand, and the two remaining origin swords flew out. They didn't fly toward the devil, but toward the qilin. The qilin let out a sorrowful cry, but it did not resist. It allowed the two primordial spirits to pierce through its body. Blood sprayed out and immediately filled the surrounding area. Beast soul appear. Ling Tianho let out a roar, and the qilin's body collapsed. As blood rained down, the qilin's soul appeared from the collapsed body. The moment the qilin's soul appeared, it let out a roar. This roar couldn't be heard by the human ear and could only be heard by the origin soul. When it landed in Wang Lin's origin soul, it was like a bolt of thunder. The qilin's soul charged out with a roar and began biting the devil in an attempt to stop the devil from chasing. Ling Tianho looked at the sky filled with the qilin's blood. His eyes were bloodshot, and his heart was also bleeding. This qilin had been with him for countless years and had become an inseparable part of his life. However, at this moment, he had to personally kill this beast and use its blood as a sacrifice to catalyze the growth of the beast soul. As he let out a roar, Ling Tianho's hand formed a seal and pointed forward. The surrounding blood flew into the air and charged at the devil that was fighting the qilin's soul. There was a trace of gold in the blood, and as it penetrated through the black fog, a majority of the black fog dissipated. All of the blood gathered toward the devil without any obstruction. Wang Lin, help me. This place is dangerous, and it is not something one person can resist. Allow me to explain it to you later. The reason Ling Tianho chose to escape here was because he noticed that someone had teleported in. He believed that among those that hadn't entered, the most qualified person to enter first was Wang Lin. Just as they entered the 8th floor, Wang Lin saw that even Ling Tianho was in such a sorry state and didn't hesitate to destroy the qilin. Wang Lin had a bad feeling about what had happened after everyone entered the 8th floor. At this moment, he had to find someone to ask about what had happened here. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a decisive gaze, and he walked out from the black fog. Without wasting time with Ling Tianho, Wang Lin jumped into the air and was about to use a spell. Ling Tianho shouted, "All spells are useless against this thing. They will be devoured by this thing." At the same time, he slapped his bag of holding and a small, red sword appeared in his hand. He swung it and the small, red sword shot forward like lightning. When it got close to the devil, Ling Tianho's heart ached and he shouted, "Explode." After he spoke, the small sword collapsed with a bang and turned into a destructive force that rushed into the devil's body. The devil immediately let out a sharp cry. In Wang Lin's eyes, this devil was clearly an ancient devil. However, this ancient devil was very strange. Although it looked similar to a scattered devil, there was one thing that was very different. This ancient devil had stars in its left eye. There was a total of 8 stars. 7 of them were dim, and only one gave off a monstrous devilish energy. At this moment, as the ancient devil felt pain, the stars in its left eye rotated rapidly. The only shining star gave off even more devilish energy, making the ancient devil give off a gloomy feeling. As it roared, the ancient devil charged out from the Qilin and charged at Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin's pupil shrank. His right hand formed a fist, and he threw a punch. The ancient god shadow appeared and fused with the black fog, so it wasn't clear. However, the moment the punch landed, it caused the ancient devil's body to tremble and stop charging at Ling Tianhou. It suddenly turned around and stared at Wang Lin. It unexpectedly gave up on Ling Tianhou and turned into a devilish shadow as it charged at Wang Lin. It was obvious that it recognized Wang Lin's ancient god aura. Wang Lin activated his origin energy and a black and white yin-yang symbol appeared behind him. His right hand reached to the void, and the black and white gas intertwined to form the treasure Wang Lin had fused with his Tao, the Soul Lasher. With the Soul Lasher in his hand, Wang Lin shook it, and popping sounds came from the whip. More skin peeled off, revealing slivers of golden light. The moment the devil shadow closed in, the Soul Lasher lashed out and landed on the ancient devil. The ancient devil's body trembled, and a large amount of devil energy sprayed out from the whip. He screamed in pain, and his eyes were bloodshot. He was about to charge forward again when the Soul Lasher landed on the ancient devil's body. However, the Soul Lasher in Wang Lin's hand swept out once more and landed on the ancient devil. The ancient devil's body trembled once more, but Wang Lin didn't stop and continued to lash. The ancient devil seemed to fear the whip and began to retreat. However, just as it retreated a few hundred feet, the ancient devil's body suddenly shrank and turned into a giant, black palm print. It whistled toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin, be careful. This devil palm can penetrate all defenses. The moment Ling Tianhou saw the devil palm, his mind trembled. The injury on his chest was caused by this devil palm. The moment Wang Lin saw the devil palm, his eyes lit up. This giant devil palm gave him a very familiar feeling. The moment it closed in, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he raised his right hand. The shocking palm he comprehended in the rain, celestial realm, appeared in his mind. I know this palm as well. Back then, Wang Lin's cultivation level wasn't high enough, but now he was at the peak of Nirvana Scryer and had the body of an ancient god. As he raised his hand, the giant palm from the rain, celestial realm, appeared in his mind. It replaced everything and became an eternal memory. It turned into a will that entered his right hand, and he suddenly pushed forward. That palm strike caused the sky to change colors, and a loud rumbling sound to echo out. The black fog in the area seemed to be swept away by a violent gale, causing it to retreat madly in all directions. The will contained within this palm was the aura of supremacy in the world. With a wave of the palm, a giant palm print that could cover the sky appeared before Wang Lin. It gave off an indescribable pressure and rumbled forward. In almost an instant, it collided with the ancient devil's palm. There was a thunderous bang, and the entire earth trembled. The devil palm collapsed into countless strands of devilish energy that condensed into the shape of the ancient devil. At this moment, his eyes were filled with terror as he let out a scream and was about to escape. However, Wang Lin's palm didn't dissipate and swept forward like crazy. All the black fog in the 8th floor retreated. This palm unexpectedly opened up a long passage before Wang Lin. The ancient devil couldn't escape and was soon caught. The palm pierced through his body, and he let out a miserable scream. The ancient devil's left eye flashed, and the moment his body shattered, his left eye flew out. The palm didn't stop and continued to charge forward. All the pavilions in the way collapsed, and as the palm charged forward, it hit the edge of the palace at the center of the 8th floor. There was a thunderous bang, and half of the palace was destroyed, revealing the 99 candlesticks inside. The instant the palm swept past, one of the 2 remaining candles among the 99 candlesticks shook violently, but it was still extinguished. The only one that remained showed signs of extinguishing, but it was still struggling. Ling Tianhou stared dumbfoundedly at all of this and gasped. His eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, a storm of terror was set off in his heart toward Wang Lin. The big shot's monthly votes aren't good enough. Fine, since I've already given it my all, I'll give it my all for one more chapter. I'll make the big shots feel bad about not giving me my monthly votes. Wait for my 5th chapter. Chapter 1060. Let's go. Wang Lin's words were concise as he followed the path the palm took. At this moment, his heart was not as calm as it looked. He had a strong feeling that he had only used a very small part of the power of that palm. If he could use all of it, he could shatter the first 9 floors of the Celestial Emperor Cave with one palm. Ling Tianhou immediately followed behind Wang Lin. His gaze toward Wang Lin became even more fearful. He found it more and more difficult to see through Wang Lin. Although he believed that his cultivation level was higher than Wang Lin's, if they were to fight, he would without a doubt lose. Wang Lin moved like lightning and charged forward. In a flash, he arrived at the center of the half-destroyed palace. As he moved forward, he coldly looked at Ling Tianhou and threw a large amount of pills into his mouth. Then he slapped his bag of holding, and there was a flash of silver light. The woman in silver appeared next to Wang Lin and coldly looked at Ling Tianhou. Ling Tianhou's pupils shrank once more. He felt that Wang Lin was even more mysterious. I can't see through this person. Whether it is his cultivation, spells, or everything else, he can only be described as mysterious. In Ling Tianhou's life, he had only used the word mysterious on one person, and that was Tian Yunzi. Now there was one more. He didn't use the wax pill Wang Wei had given him, but swallowed a normal celestial pill to make up for the terrifying amount of origin energy he had lost. The amount of origin energy he lost wasn't any weaker than when he used the iron sword. However, Wang Lin had just left the magma. Aside from the fire origin energy that was circulating inside his body, there was also a large amount of origin energy that was floating around. After cultivating for several months, the rosefinch totem had absorbed a lot of it. During those months of cultivation, Wang Lin found that the fire origin energy absorbed by his rosefinch totem could flow into his body. This discovery was the reason why Wang Lin had stayed in the magma for so long. After swallowing a pill, Wang Lin didn't use the fire origin energy from the rosefinch totem. After absorbing the origin energy and adding the pill, Wang Lin recovered a bit. Soon, they arrived at the center of the palace. The candlestick was still struggling to burn, but there was no one inside. After Wang Lin walked in, he looked around and calmly said, "What happened here?" Ling Tianhou walked in behind Wang Lin. His face was filled with lingering fear as he said, "When we entered this place from the 7th floor, there was no black fog. However, after we entered the palace and opened the entrance to the 9th floor, 3 devilish figures charged out and filled this place with black fog. Those 3 devilish figures were too strange. Master Void was immediately seriously injured, and even Wang Wei was attacked by Bei Lu. Tian Yunzi also attacked to help Bei Lu. As for Hu Wan, she didn't even have time to attack before she was sucked into the 9th floor. I was also injured by one of the devilish figures. In this black fog, I couldn't see anything, and my divine sense couldn't penetrate it." Ling Tianhou simply explained what had happened. As Wang Lin listened, he gradually frowned and was secretly shocked. Wang Lin wasn't surprised that Tian Yunzi had helped Bei Lu. Tian Yunzi had come to the demon spirit land several times, and Wang Lin wouldn't believe that Tian Yunzi didn't have any connection with the ancient demons. Moreover, back in the Heavenly Fate sect, Wang Lin had seen the Purple Division's eldest senior brother use a demonic spell. He had a deep impression of that scene. As he came into contact with it more, every time he thought about it, he was even more certain of his speculation. In particular, the scattered devil body that Wang Lin had obtained in the demon spirit land belonged to Ling Tianhou, but this body was a lot younger. Right now, this body was still inside Wang Lin's bag of holding. Wang Lin believed that if he took out this body, Ling Tianhou's expression would change greatly. Even Tian Yunzi's expression would change. Ancient devil, ancient demon, Tian Yunzi, and Ling Tianhou. There must be a strange connection between them. Wang Lin's expression didn't change as he looked around the palace. His gaze especially fell on the only burning candle. How do I open this place? Wang Lin had to go to the 9th floor. Whether it was Zhou, Yi, or Situ Nan, he had to go. Although Situ Nan hadn't entered, Wang Lin firmly believed that with Situ Nan's cultivation level, he wouldn't encounter any danger in the first few floors. However, Zhou Yi was on the 9th floor, and Situ Nan's hope of curing the poison was on the 9th floor. These two were his benefactors. So how could he make Wang Lin give up? Even though he knew the danger in the 9th floor, if he gave up because of the danger, then Wang Lin would be living in vain. Ling Tianho hesitated for a bit. You really want to go in? Wang Lin nodded. Ling Tianho silently pondered for a bit before a hint of madness appeared in his eyes, and he muttered, Forget it. Your cultivation level is much lower than the old man's, but you still have the courage. The old man's beloved beast was destroyed by that devil, and the tyrannical domain he cultivated his entire life would make the old man unwilling to leave just like that. If Tian Yunzi dares to enter, what does the old man have to be afraid of? He took a step forward and charged at the candlesticks on the ground. He used the method Huan used to open the candlesticks on the ground a few times. The 99 candlesticks began to slowly move, creating a rumbling sound. As they moved, they seemed to form a giant formation. Waves of dark light spread out from the candlesticks, and with a bang, they shone intensely. An illusory circle of light instantly appeared on the wounds on the 99 candlesticks, and thick, black fog spread out madly from it. Ling Tianho clenched his teeth and was the first to charge into the ring of light. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin didn't hesitate. He took a deep breath, put away the silver female corpse, and stepped into the ring of light. Just as Wang Lin and Ling Tianho entered the 9th floor, in the hall that was exactly the same as the previous 8 floors, the black figure sitting on the chair suddenly raised its head. Its eyes were filled with struggle, and there was only a dot of light flashing between its eyebrows. There was endless black gas around that dot of light, as if it wanted to devour that dot of light. Thunderous rumbles came from outside the hall, and waves of angry roars came from outside the hall. It was obvious that an intense battle was taking place outside the hall. Almost everyone was present outside the hall, but they were all injured. They surrounded the hall, and at this moment, there were countless devilish shadows surrounding the hall. These devilish shadows charged out like crazy and continued to fight against the surrounding cultivators. No matter how much the cultivators attacked, the devilish shadows still wouldn't dissipate. If pushed too far, some of the devilish shadows would collapse, creating a destructive shockwave that spread in all directions. As a result, everyone here was locked in a battle. Master Void's face was pale as he sat not far away and coughed out a mouthful of black blood. His right hand quickly pointed at his body several times to suppress his injuries. Beside him, the black-clothed man was also sitting cross-legged with a pale face, but his eyes were staring straight ahead. Tian Yunzi waved his sleeves, and every time he waved his sleeves, a shocking spell would appear and break all the devilish shadows charging at him. As for Wang Wei, his expression was gloomy. The water curtain around him was monstrous as he attacked like crazy. There were 2 reasons he was going crazy. One was his teacher, Qing Lin, and the second was Huan. Huan had been sucked into the 9th floor after opening it, causing Wang Wei to be distracted. This gave Bei Lu a chance, and Tian Yunzi had helped, causing Wang Wei to be injured. However, Wang Wei had too many pills, so he didn't fight with Luo Tian and Bei Lu. Instead, he charged into the 9th floor to find Huan. Bei Lu was on the other side, and his body was covered in demonic energy that formed a monstrous demonic flame. There were also ancient demon shadows inside the demonic energy. They looked like shadows, but they were almost corporeal and gave off a demonic aura. He often raised his hand and used spells to attack the countless devilish shadows inside the black fog. He roared, Tajia. A devil shadow body consumes a lot of devilish energy. I want to see how much more you can consume. What answered Bei Lu was a hoarse voice that caused everyone's hearts to turn cold. This voice was ethereal and contained a devilish might. Beilu, once this devil completes the possession, you will know how much devilish energy I have right now. Hearing this, Wang Wei's eyes turned red. His hands formed a seal, and a blue light appeared before him. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a monstrous sea. This sea filled the sky like a real sea, and with a roar from Wang Wei, this monstrous sea descended from the sky and charged at the black fog outside the hall. The old man on the gourd also used his divine ability. He turned into countless spells and charged at the black fog, fighting the demonic shadow inside. At this moment, Zhou, he was also here, but his body was even weaker. His eyes were filled with anxiety as he looked at the black fog before him. However, his devilish energy was too strong. As a spirit, it was very difficult for him to resist the devilish energy that was constantly entering his body. It was also at this moment that Wang Lin and Ling Tianhou arrived. The 9th floor wasn't big, and aside from the palace in the middle, there was nothing else. The moment they arrived, they saw the fierce battle that they had never seen before. This was especially true for Bei Lu's ancient demon shadow and Wang Wei's monstrous, raging sea. At this moment, the All-Seer's eyes revealed a strange light. He pointed at the sky and muttered, "Heavenly fate finger." After he spoke, a powerful vortex appeared in the sea formed by Wang Wei's spell. A powerful pressure descended from the sky, and a giant finger came out from the sea. It mercilessly stabbed toward the palace covered in black fog. It actually fell out of the top 6. Even after erupting 5 chapters, it still fell out of the top 6. He really want to cough out a mouthful of blood. It looks like I haven't updated enough. I'm going to fight until I'm exhausted. Just wait for my 6th chapter. Chapter 1061. The monstrous sea crashed down as if it was going to destroy everything in the world. The heavenly fate spell descended from the sea in the sky. Ancient demon Bei Lu stretched out his arms, and the ancient demon shadow behind him left his body. In a flash, 24 small flags appeared and surrounded the ancient demon shadow. As the ancient demon's shadow pointed forward, the 23 small green flags immediately emitted an unimaginable pressure. Ancient gods, ancient devils, and even some ancient beasts appeared from the flags. They filled the world. At this moment, all kinds of spells descended from the sky toward the devilish fog outside the palace. Master Void clenched his teeth. He was about to attack, but when he noticed Wang Lin arrive, he immediately stopped. The man in black beside him also didn't attack, but there was a hint of greed in his eyes. Once they opened the palace, it would be the seriously injured celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Even though there was an ancient devil, they had a lot of people, and they didn't lack powerful cultivators. Even the ancient devil would die here. As long as I can obtain 3 drops of Qing Lin's blood, my mission will be complete. At that time, Lord will definitely help me increase my cultivation level greatly. Even the old man on the gourd's eyes lit up, and he withdrew his spell. He retreated a few steps, and his eyes were filled with greed. He had followed Tian Yunzi all the way here without much trouble. His purpose here wasn't to obtain the secret of the 3rd step from Qing Lin, but to obtain Qing Lin's celestial spells. When the spells of Tian Yunzi, the ancient demon, and Wang Wei descended, the entire earth trembled. Countless cracks appeared on the ground, as if it was going to collapse. When Tian Yunzi's finger descended, the earth completely collapsed. Even the celestial Emperor Cave began to tremble violently. The 1st and 9th floors were all affected. In addition, the ancient demon's green flag formed many shadows. Not only was the celestial Emperor Cave shaking, but the entire demon spirit land was shaken. The ground collapsed, and the entire 9th level was reduced to ruins. The moment the 3 great spells descended, the ancient devil let out a hoarse roar. The black fog outside the palace swept across the sky and collided with the 3 powerful cultivators. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Bursts of heaven-shaking rumbles echoed. Wang Lin and Ling Tianhou immediately flew forward. Before they even got close, they felt the unimaginable impact. However, just as the divine ability collided with the black fog and caused the weather to change, the flame on the last candle in the 8th layer flickered violently. After struggling for a while, it slowly extinguished. The moment the flame was extinguished, the light between the eyebrows of the middle-aged man sitting on the chair in the hall in the 9th layer immediately disappeared. The devilish aura around him rushed in and occupied his entire spirit altar. At that instant, the man suddenly raised his head. The murkiness in his eyes instantly disappeared and was replaced by an indescribably terrifying demonic flame. In particular, there were 8 stars rapidly spinning in his left eye. A dark smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he slowly stood up from where he sat. He had been sitting here for countless years. During these countless years, his body couldn't move an inch, but at this moment he moved. The moment the middle-aged man stood up, a monstrous wave of devilish aura rushed out. Cracking sounds rang out in the hall he was in, and countless cracks appeared on it. With a bang, the entire hall collapsed and swept out in all directions. As the palace collapsed, even the demonic fog outside was swept back in an instant. All of it entered the middle-aged man's body in a frenzy, and a set of black armor instantly appeared on his body. At this instant, Wang Wei watched the palace collapse. He looked at the blurry figure inside the collapsed palace, and his eyes were filled with shock and pain. Teacher, there was a rare hint of madness in Tian Yunzi's eyes. He had waited for this day for a very long time. On the other side, ancient demon Bei Lu sucked in a breath of cold air, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. He just succeeded in possessing this body and hasn't stabilized yet. I can't let him consolidate it. The moment the middle-aged man stood up, all the restrictions in the 1st to 8th floors shined like crazy. It was as if they were cheering as they collapsed. What was even more terrifying was that the demon spirit land began to tremble the moment the middle-aged man stood up. The demonic energy that had been expelled from the celestial spirit heaven realm suddenly released endless devilish energy. This devilish energy swept the world and covered the entire celestial spirit heaven realm in an instant. All the celestial beasts that had just recovered were swept by the devilish energy. Once the devilish energy passed, what appeared were fierce beasts filled with bloodthirst. Not only the demon spirit land, but even the endless space the demon spirit land was in was filled with devilish energy. A giant, illusory devil shadow appeared and let out a laugh. This laughter was silent, but at this moment it enveloped the entire Alliance star system. This was an unimaginable power. In the northern part of the Alliance star system, the war that had lasted for half a year was still ongoing. A large number of cultivators from both sides had been reduced to dust, but this ruthless war had caused the eyes of both sides to turn red with killing. A large amount of Luo Tian cultivators rushed over from the Luo Tian star system, and the Cultivation Alliance had sent out a large amount of cultivators. The entire northern part of the Alliance star system seemed to be able to smell the thick scent of blood. Even Master Flamespark was killing like crazy. However, as the cultivators from both sides continued to slaughter, the silent laughter echoed. Master Flamespark's body trembled, and even the Alliance elder fighting him was filled with terror. Not only them, but even the surrounding ordinary cultivators began to tremble. They were at a loss and didn't know what was going on. Even further away, in the Cultivation Alliance headquarters, there were some remaining Celestials like Wang Wei and Huan who had survived the collapse of the Celestial Realm. They were the backbone of the Cultivation Alliance, and they were preparing to leave to join the war in the northern part of the Alliance. But immediately, the soundless laughter passed by their ears. The expressions of the immortals of the past changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with monstrous shock. This voice is Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Even deep within the Cultivation Alliance headquarters, the middle-aged man in the secret chamber on the planet floating above the vortex suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the bell on the ceiling of the secret chamber suddenly collapsed. Celestial Emperor. At the same time, in the brilliant void realm, The old man that noticed Wang Lin suddenly raised his head. His gaze seemed to be able to penetrate countless things as he looked at the demon spirit land. His expression was unprecedentedly serious. Beside him, the extremely cold, brilliant void saintess, Mu Bingmei, was also startled. He has awakened. No, it's not him. The old man's expression immediately changed. He seemed melancholy, relieved, but also a bit lost. At this moment, in the four divine sects Rosefinch divine sect star domain that was a forbidden land to the Cultivation Alliance, there was a stone 100 feet wide. This stone was irregular in shape and wasn't red, but snow white. However, the temperature of this stone was unimaginably high. Even Wang Lin's body would melt if he came within 1,000 feet of it. Even Rosefinch would instantly die. Not even a 5-star ancient god could survive within 1,000 feet of this stone. That seemingly ordinary stone was the source of the sea of Fire Starfield. It was also because of its existence that this place seemed to be in eternal peace, and it continued to burn over the years. At that moment, an old man was sitting cross-legged on top of the boulder. That old man's appearance was simply too ancient. His skin was wrinkled, and he was emitting a dense aura of death. From afar, he did not seem like a person, but rather a lump of dead flesh. However, no one dared to underestimate this old man. He was the Rosefinch Divine Sect's Rosefinch Divine Emperor. Even back then, his name shook the stars. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't enter the celestial realm due to special reasons, he would have a place in the celestial realm. At this moment, the old man opened his eyes and looked ahead with a hint of melancholy. Could it be that my Rosefinch Divine Sect really can't rise? At the same time, there was a rank 6 cultivation planet that cultivators didn't pay attention to and could even ignore. This planet was called Planet Suzaku. In Suzaku, where the fog turned into a sea of blood, where the land of the ancient god was located, a red-haired man slowly raised his head and revealed a hint of contempt in his eyes. An 8-star ancient devil is only a piece of trash. In another 100 years, I, Tua's son, will be able to leave this place. At that time, will anyone in this world be able to stop me? Along with Tua Sen's voice, the sea of blood rumbled and rolled up, forming a monstrous wave of blood. On planet Suzaku, the land of the ancient god was located in a separate space created by 2C. 2C's body was stored in this space. It was impossible to describe the size of his body. Even a cultivation planet was like a child's toy before him. His rough skin, incomparably large fist, and a heaven-shaking pressure filled the void. However, at this moment, as the sea of blood surged and Ta Sin spoke, the giant ancient god's right index finger suddenly moved. 6 chapters, a full 6 chapters, 18,000 words. Right now, his ears and hand were trembling. This was the truth. He had never written so many words before. I really gave it my all. You saw it. Chapter 1062. The collapse of the palace was like a storm that was suddenly interrupted. It formed a shock wave that spread in all directions. The middle-aged man who stood up was the strongest person in the 4 celestial realms in the past, the strongest celestial emperor in the world, Qing Lin. However, at this moment, his eyes were filled with devilish flames, and a set of black armor covered his body. This armor was like scales that covered every part of his body. Behind him was a monstrous devilish energy that formed a cloak that moved without any wind. At the end of the cloak, there was the illusion of an ancient devil. Under the dense armor, this person's face was completely hidden. Only the devilish flames in his eyes shone with a bright red light. The moment the palace collapsed, he took a step forward. At this moment, outside the collapsed palace, the sea formed by Wang Wei's shocking spell had already filled the sky. The collapse of the palace was too sudden, so Wang Wei's spell didn't have time to dissipate. The raging waves fell from the sky and smashed into the collapsed palace. At this moment, everything in the world seemed to be replaced by the raging waves. The world was filled with water vapor, and a heaven-shaking, celestial spiritual energy filled the area. It was almost corporeal and could cause anyone's mind to tremble. Just this spell alone was enough for Wang Wei to be called one of the peak experts. The entire world seemed to be submerged as the seawater descended. Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air. Wang Wei's strength seemed to be on par with Shimizu's. Of course, that was if Shimizu's Ji realm wasn't included. However, at the instant the raging waves arrived, the armored man in the palace took a step forward and appeared in midair. Insignificant skill. With a trace of bloodthirsty madness, the man raised his right hand and casually waved it at the sky. Immediately, a black aura spread out from his hand and filled the sky in the blink of an eye, covering the surging sea. The wave that Wang Wei used collapsed into countless raindrops. It was as if the spell was child's play in front of this man. Teacher-disciple came late. Wang Wei's face was pale, and he retreated hundreds of feet to Zhou Yi's side. He looked at the man in armor in the sky with pain in his eyes, but he quickly suppressed the pain and revealed a determined expression. He knew how dangerous this place was. Zhou Yi hadn't recovered from injuring Master Void, so he was in danger here. Wang Wei waved his right hand, and Zhou Yi naturally understood. He looked at Wang Lin in the distance and turned into a ray of light that landed in Wang Wei's hand. Wang Wei put him into his bag of holding. In the sky, after Wang Wei's waves came Tian Yunzi's heavenly fate finger. This finger seemed to be able to support the world, and it was made of powerful origin energy. It slowly descended from the sky, and although it looked slow, it was extremely fast. A thunderous rumble echoed as if a hole had been opened in the sky by this finger. Even the black fog that covered the sky was pierced through by this finger and shot toward the man below. A strange whistling sound echoed, but before it could get close to the middle-aged man, the middle-aged man raised his right hand and grabbed at it. The finger immediately collapsed from the middle with a bang. It was as if there was a force far stronger than the heavenly fate finger that broke the finger and caused its structure to shatter inch by inch. The thunderous rumble was heaven shaking. The heavenly fate finger that made Wang Lin's scalp tingle collapsed and dissipated in the blink of an eye. All of this happened in an instant. The moment the man took a step forward, both Wang Wei and Tian Yunzi's spells collapsed. However, the man in armor didn't stop and took another step. This time, his speed was indescribable, and he immediately arrived before ancient demon Bei Lu. The 8 stars in his left eye flashed, and he raised his right hand. His right hand swept by the many shadows from the flags before Bei Lu. The endless black fog in the sky shrank like crazy and surrounded him and Bei Lu. All of this happened too fast, and by the time everyone reacted, all they could see was the black fog. Bursts of thunderous rumbles echoed inside the black fog. The black fog churned, and Bei Lu's angry roar came from within. Tajia, even if you possess Qing Lin's body, you won't be able to devour Qing Lin's soul without a period of complete fusion. You won't be able to display Qing Lin's full strength. So what? It's enough to kill all of you. A hoarse and gloomy voice came from within the fluctuations of spells. When it landed in everyone's ears, it was like the sound of bones rubbing against each other. It made everyone feel a chill in their hearts. The All-Seer's eyes revealed a strange light, and his body flickered as he charged into the black fog. The popping sound from the black fog became even louder. Wang Wei also clenched his teeth and charged into the black fog. At this moment, all 3 of them had entered the black fog. The sound of spells colliding echoed, and countless fluctuations of origin energy and celestial spells spread out like crazy. Master Void stared at the black fog, and the man in black beside him did the same. The old man on the gourd hesitated for a moment before stopping at the edge of the black fog. As for Ling Tianho, he looked at the black fog with a gloomy expression. Wang Lin retreated without hesitation. Although he didn't know everything about the situation before him, the man in armor and the palace were all the same as what he saw in the bottle world. It was obvious that the person who gave him the yellow crystal was this man in armor. Wang Wei's teacher's words confirmed Wang Lin's speculation. This person was the strongest person in the celestial realm, Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Connecting all the information I obtained before, the cause and effect of this matter is clear. Back when the celestial realm collapsed, the celestial emperor was seriously injured and forced to retreat. Then ancient devil Ta Jia and ancient demon Bei Lu took advantage of the situation to take Qing Lin's body. They wanted to obtain Qing Lin's inheritance and memories. However, Qing Lin was very powerful. Even after being seriously injured, he was still unimaginably powerful. Even when the ancient devil and ancient demon teamed up, they couldn't completely defeat Qing Lin. In the end, Qing Lin escaped to the celestial spirit heaven realm, and his battle with the ancient devil and ancient demon reached its most intense peak. During that battle, ancient demon Bei Lu was split into 9 parts and had no choice but to turn into 9 spirits. He hid in the celestial spirit heaven realm and waited for countless years for the 9 spirits to recover and fuse back into one. Ancient devil Ta Jia had successfully entered Qing Lin's body and tried to possess him. However, due to Qing Lin's resistance, he finally arrived at the 9th floor of the cave. The moment he sat down, he used the 99 candlelight art to resist. However, ancient devil Ta Jia was also a powerful cultivator. He used devilish energy to pollute the entire cave and infuse some of Qing Lin's guards with devilish intent. In the end, they became his subordinates. As for why the scattered devil that took over the body of someone who looked exactly like Ling Tianho appeared in the outside world, and how to obtain the body of someone who looked exactly like Ling Tianho, I fear there are other clues to all of this. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. With his intelligence, he immediately had a rough idea of what had happened in the Celestial Emperor Cave. Just as hundreds of thoughts flashed through Wang Lin's mind, and he retreated, a deafening rumble came from the black fog before him. As the rumble echoed, the black fog was pushed back like crazy. Wang Wei's body charged out from the spreading black mist. As he floated in the air, he couldn't help but cough out a mouthful of blood. His entire body became dispirited, but the sorrow on his face and the pain in his heart surpassed all the injuries he suffered. Just as Wang Wei was knocked back, the spreading black mist gathered and turned into a ray of black light that shot toward Wang Wei. It was so fast that it pierced through Wang Wei's chest. Wang Wei's body in the air suddenly sprayed out a large amount of snow mist, and his entire body immediately fell down. This scene was too sudden, and the expressions of the people watching couldn't help but change greatly. The man in black gasped. He withdrew all his greed and quickly retreated. Master Void did the same, but there was a flash of killing intent in his eyes as he retreated toward the seriously injured Wang Wei. I'll take this opportunity to deal with this person and resolve the hatred in the old man's heart. Although Master Void was seriously injured, he was still a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. At this moment, he turned into a blur and instantly closed in on Wang Wei. He raised his right hand and mercilessly hit Wang Wei's head. His expression was ferocious as he shouted, "You dare to help that little bastard? You're courting death." As Wang Lin retreated, he also saw Wang Wei's seriously injured body fly out. He immediately changed directions and flew toward Wang Wei. However, his speed was not as fast as Master Void. Master Void closed in on Wang Wei and raised his palm. Bursts of earth-yellow light came from Master Void's palm. This palm contained the peak power of an early-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Just at this moment of crisis, Wang Lin didn't have time to think. The ancient god furnace appeared around him, and he quickly pointed at Wang Wei. He shouted, "Change positions." There was a flash of light from Wang Wei's body. The moment Master Void's palm closed in, Wang Wei disappeared and was replaced by Wang Lin. There was a flash of green light in Wang Lin's right eye. The moment he appeared before Master Void's palm, the azure light shield appeared between him and Master Void. Master Void's right hand landed on the azure light shield with a bang. The shield suddenly sank down and pressed down on Wang Lin's chest, causing Wang Lin to cough out a mouthful of blood. As he retreated, his eyes were bloodshot. He arrived next to the unconscious Wang Wei, grabbed him, and retreated. At the same time, his right hand reached into Wang Wei's clothes and took out a wax pill. He crushed it and stuffed it into Wang Wei's mouth. Chapter 1063. Master Void stared at Wang Lin. The killing intent in his heart could no longer be suppressed after being suppressed again and again in the Celestial Emperor Cave. At this moment, he completely forgot how he could lose control of his mind with his cultivation level. He turned into a blur and charged at Wang Lin. "Little bastard, today the old man will skin you alive." Wang Lin quickly retreated, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Just as Master Void chased after Wang Lin, the black fog that was giving off rumbles unexpectedly spread out once more. This time, Tian Yunzi charged out. His face was pale, but he wasn't in a sorry state. The moment he charged out, the black fog turned into a ray of black light that injured Wang Wei and charged at Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi's eyes lit up, but he didn't stop at all. As he charged out, his right hand pointed to between his eyebrows and a ray of seven-colored light flew out. It formed a seven-colored curtain that collided with the black light. There was a thunderous bang, and the black light and seven-colored curtain collapsed at the same time. Borrowing the impact, Tian Yunzi retreated without hesitation. This sudden scene caused Master Void's mind to tremble. However, he didn't give up on chasing Wang Lin and moved even faster. When the old man on the gourd saw that even Tian Yunzi was defeated, he was filled with terror. He wanted to retreat without hesitation, but it was too late. The black fog behind him surged to its peak in an instant, and a series of earth-shattering rumbles rang out. A muffled groan was clearly heard as Bei Luo was thrown out of the black fog. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The demonic aura around Bei Luo's body seemed to have been scattered, but it immediately gathered back together. However, his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Behind him, the black fog rapidly shrank. In the blink of an eye, all the black fog shrank to the center where the ancient devil was. The ancient devil was holding a 3-meter-long black saber in his right hand. He walked forward. His pace was not fast, but his speed was not slow. With just a second step, he had closed in on the old man on the gourd. The old man on the gourd revealed a look of horror and was about to retreat. However, just as he was about to retreat, the ancient devil stepped by him and casually raised the blade in his hand and swept by the old man on the gourd. An unimaginably sharp light caused the old man on the gourd's expression to change greatly. He didn't have time to think, and the gourd under him flew up to block. His right hand immediately slammed down on the gourd. However, just as the divine ability shot out from the mouth of the gourd, there was a flash of blade light, and the gourd was split in half with a crack. The old man behind him trembled, and when he looked down, he saw that his body had been split in half. Even his nascent divinity did not have a chance to escape. It was swept by the blade light and collapsed inside his body. All of this passed in the blink of an eye. Ancient Devil Ta Jia's body didn't stop at all. After he passed by the old man on the gourd, the old man's body collapsed. This scene caused everyone to gasp. The man in black was filled with fear and escaped even faster. Drops of blood dripped from the blade. The ancient devil's expression was ferocious as he chased after Bei Lu. Bei Lu, back then, this devil didn't kill you because our ancestors were both from the ancient clan. However, since you're seeking death, I can only help you. Bei Lu quickly retreated and said in a sharp voice, "Nonsense. Back then, we had an agreement that I would take the body and you would take the memories. If it wasn't for you changing your mind, Qing Lin's body would belong to me." The armored ancient devil revealed a mocking gaze and chased after Bei Lu. He calmly said, "I merely changed my mind a bit too quickly. If I was too late, our positions would have been reversed." As he spoke, he raised the blade in his right hand and chopped down. "Reveal your demon spirit body for this devil." A ray of shocking light flashed across the world. It was as if a blade that could split the heavens and earth had descended from the sky. As the ancient devil chopped down, a thunderous rumble echoed. A ray of blade energy hundreds of thousands of feet long appeared in the sky and mercilessly swept toward Bei Lu. Bei Lu's expression changed greatly. The blade energy was too fast, and he didn't have time to dodge at all. The blade energy landed on his body. With a bang, the saber light pierced through Bei Lu's body and landed directly on the ground. Immediately, A rumbling sound came from the ground, and a huge ravine that was tens of thousands of feet long and unfathomably deep appeared. Beiluo's body was split into two and immediately collapsed into flesh and blood. However, within the collapsed body, a green demonic aura instantly rushed out and condensed in midair. Impressively, it turned into a giant ancient demon that was about 100 feet tall. This was ancient demon Bei Lu's true body, the demon spirit body. The moment he appeared, he immediately retreated. His speed was shocking. The ancient devil let out a cold snort and chased after him with his blade. He didn't even look at the others. To him, these people were just ants. The only thing he had to pay attention to was the ancient god aura he felt the moment he appeared. It was an aura he loathed the moment he appeared. While chasing, the ancient devil coldly looked at Wang Lin in the distance. At this moment, Wang Lin was moving at his limit to avoid Master Void, who was chasing him like a mad dog. However, his speed was still too slow compared to Master Void's. However, at this moment of crisis, Wang Lin immediately took out the Tattoo Clan's speed talisman and stuck it on his body. His speed instantly reached a peak. Go to where the palace was. My wife is there. She was taken away before Teacher was possessed, so she must have something to say. Wang Wei's clear voice came from behind Wang Lin. After taking the pill, his injuries had completely recovered. After saying this, Wang Wei immediately left Wang Lin and charged toward Master Void. Wang Lin didn't pause at all and immediately changed directions. In a flash, he arrived at the collapsed palace. He spread out his divine sense and found the unconscious Huan inside the ruins. When he got close to Huan, Wang Lin didn't hesitate. His right hand contained a trace of fire energy, and he quickly pointed to between Huan's eyebrows. The fire energy entered Huan's body and immediately awakened her. Wang Lin didn't have time to explain. The moment Huan awakened, he immediately sent a message to her. Senior, please quickly open the gate to leave. After Huan woke up, there was a moment of confusion in her eyes, but she quickly recovered. She stood up, formed a seal with both hands, and pointed to the sky. Suddenly, there was a rumbling sound in the sky, and 6 beams of light suddenly appeared in the sky, directly falling within a radius of 10 feet around Huan. In the distance, Wang Wei's right hand formed a seal, and a curtain of water appeared and trapped Master Void. There was a flash of killing intent in Wang Wei's eyes, but he obviously didn't have time to continue fighting with Master Void. He let out a cold snort, and the curtain of water around Master Void suddenly turned into countless water arrows and rapidly shrank. Without waiting to see the result, Wang Wei immediately retreated to the pillar of light that Huan and Wang Lin were in. In a flash, the 3 of them disappeared. At the same time, the man in black also arrived in a panic and disappeared into the pillar of light. Master Void's body was surrounded by water arrows. As they penetrated his body, he let out a roar and an earth-yellow storm appeared. He barely managed to resist, but he coughed out a mouthful of blood. His body shivered, and he awakened from his madness. Everything that had happened was unbelievable to outsiders. How could he not control his killing intent and attack in such a dangerous place? If he had been a bit careless, he would have died here. Master Void's eyes were filled with fear and bitterness. His body flickered, and he charged at the pillar of light. As for Tian Yunzi, he had disappeared without a trace. Earlier, I found that there was something strange about myself, and now I can confirm it. I didn't expect the first Heaven's Blight to arrive so quickly. Master Void quickly charged into the pillar of light and disappeared. Ancient Demon Bei Lu, who was being chased by the ancient devil, let out an angry roar. Seeing that the transfer array was about to open, he charged toward it without any hesitation. However, just as he closed in, the ancient devil behind him revealed a bloodthirsty gaze. He let go of the blade in his hand and stretched out his arms. Devil devour all spirit. As he roared, endless black gas came from ancient devil Tajia's armor. In an instant, the black gas filled the world once more. It turned into a big mouth that seemed like it was going to devour the sky. It mercilessly tried to devour the escaping Bei Lu. Bei Lu let out a miserable groan, and his 1,000-foot-tall body collapsed. Half of it was devoured, and the remaining half returned to the size of a normal person and disappeared into the transfer array. The black gas quickly devoured half of Bei Lu's spirit body. Then it took ancient Devil Tajia's body and turned into a black gas dragon. It charged into the transfer array and mercilessly smashed into the sky. Suddenly, a bang sounded in the sky. It was as if a hole had been opened in the sky, and it shot upwards. None of you will be able to escape. As for Wang Lin and the celestial cloud couple, when they appeared from the transfer array, they immediately appeared in the palace on the 8th floor. Huan quickly said, "When teacher brought me there, he only said one thing. Rain Celestial Realm Temple, Origin Soul Crystal, Qing Shuang's blood." Wang Wei's eyes narrowed. Before he could speak, the man in black and Master Void appeared from the transfer array on the 8th floor. At the same time, ancient Devil Bei Lu's miserable spirit body appeared as well. It was also at this moment that the ground where everyone was instantly collapsed with a bang. As it collapsed, strands of black aura madly rushed out from the ground. At the instant the ground completely collapsed, the black aura that had turned into a demonic dragon rushed out. It opened its huge mouth that could devour the heavens and earth, and it madly tried to swallow everyone. At this instant, Huan's words kept replaying in Wang Lin's mind. Qing Shuang's blood. Qing Shuang's blood. The moment the devil dragon closed in, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and a celestial jade pagoda appeared. Wang Lin couldn't care less about how precious the pagoda was. The pagoda collapsed, and Qing Shuang's body floated before Wang Lin. Sorry. While secretly complaining to Zhou Yi, Wang Lin seized all the time he had. His right hand pointed at Qing Shuang's index finger, and blood appeared. He squeezed out a drop of blood and threw it at the devil dragon. He still hadn't recovered, so he had to rest for 2 days. His finger was still hurting from typing. Number 5 was brewing another eruption. Thank you everyone for your monthly votes. Can you give me some more so I can get a higher ranking? The eruption I'm brewing won't disappoint you. Chapter 1064. This drop of blood was not eye-catching at all. Wang Lin threw it at the black devil dragon that was charging out from the collapsed ground. The demon dragon opened its mouth and a ghastly cold aura howled out. It was about to devour everyone, but at this moment, the drop of Qing Shuang's blood touched the black gas that had drifted out of the demon dragon's mouth. In an instant, under the dumbfounded gazes of the people in the area, the black smoke immediately let out a sizzling sound, as if a handful of water had been poured onto a charcoal fire. The sound rose abruptly, and as it echoed in the area, the black smoke rapidly dissipated, as if it could not withstand the blood. The drop of blood directly penetrated the black gas and landed on the head of the demon dragon. At this moment, the demon dragon's body immediately paused, but then it let out a painful roar. As it roared, the devil dragon's body twisted and swept through the area. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and all the buildings in the area collapsed as if it was a giant pair of hands stirring them up, turning them into ruins. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he squeezed out more of Qing Shuang's blood and mercilessly threw it forward. His right hand formed a seal, and he waved his sleeves. Powerful origin energy surged out from his body, and the blood before him turned into a blood mist. This blood mist was dark red and spread forward. It instantly touched the devil dragon. When it touched the blood once more, the devil dragon struggled even more violently. Its roars echoed, and the devil dragon's body rapidly shrank. After it shrank completely, the ancient devil's body appeared before everyone. The black armor was stained with several drops of blood and emitted strands of red gas that lingered around the ancient devil's body for a long time. No matter how the ancient devil waved his hand, he couldn't get rid of the blood. Even if he tried to wipe it with his hand, it would pass through as if it was transparent. Qing Lin, is this the trump card you've been plotting for countless years to resist my possession? Anyone who takes over your body and tries to kill your descendants will lose all divine abilities. Even attacks that aren't divine abilities won't have any effect. Furthermore, the blood of your descendants will be the bane of all of their abilities. This is no longer an ordinary change of law, but creation of law. What a good Qing Lin. The ancient devil's eyes were ferocious as he charged at Wang Lin. I'd like to see how the blood of a mere body can make me yield. As the ancient devil roared, his right hand reached at the void, and the black blade appeared in his hand. He held it and chopped down like crazy at Wang Lin. I can't kill this descendant of Qing Lin, but I can kill a little ancient god like you. Wang Lin's face was pale. The blade energy covered the sky, and not even the old man on the gourd could dodge it. Wang Lin trembled, and his mind became unprecedentedly clear. The ancient god furnace appeared around him, and he pointed at the man in black. The reason he didn't choose Master Void was because at this moment of crisis, Wang Lin had to succeed in one go. Although Master Void was seriously injured, he was still a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. So, Wang Lin wasn't confident. The expression of the man in black changed greatly. At this moment, there was a flash of light around his body. At this moment, the blade energy closed in, and Wang Lin could even feel the coldness coming from it. Change positions. Wang Lin let out a roar, and the light from the furnace flashed violently. In an instant, it reached a peak. The man in black's eyes were filled with terror. Just as he was about to be transferred, he no longer cared about exposing his mark. The fire dragon mark between his eyebrows flew out and turned into a fire dragon covered in flames. The moment the fire dragon appeared, it let out a roar and surrounded the man in black in an attempt to resist the mysterious power of the ancient god furnace. As a result, the man in black had the power to resist. With this resistance, the blade energy closed in and penetrated Qing Shuang's body. However, due to the law that Qing Lin had set before he was possessed, the blade energy didn't harm Qing Shuang at all. Instead, the blade energy charged out and landed on Wang Lin's body. If this blade energy landed, even though Wang Lin had an ancient god body, he would be cut in half. After all, he was only a 5-star ancient god. The moment the blade energy landed, there was a flash of green light in Wang Lin's right eye. He immediately blocked the blade energy and collided with it. There was a heaven-shaking bang, and a crack appeared on Wang Lin's azure light shield. Although it didn't collapse, it was damaged. Although Wang Lin hadn't obtained this azure light shield for a long time, it could resist all attacks. Even someone as strong as Master Void could only push it back and not crack it. More and more cracks appeared on the azure light shield. Wang Lin used this opportunity to retreat with Qing Shuang's body. However, no matter how much he retreated, he couldn't escape the blade energy. Cold sweat appeared on his forehead, but the moment it flowed down, it turned into beads of ice. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin let out a roar and no longer hid his identity. The ancient god stars appeared between his eyebrows. The 5 stars shined brightly and rotated like crazy. It was as if a vortex had appeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Powerful ancient god power entered his body and rushed into the ancient god furnace. This caused the ancient god furnace around Wang Lin to shine even brighter, almost lighting up the entire world. Form displacement transposition. As Wang Lin retreated, he let out a roar like crazy. His voice was hoarse, and when it entered the ears of others, it was as if it would resonate with their minds. As he let out a heart-wrenching roar, the flame dragon on the black-robed man's body seemed to be unable to withstand the sudden light. The black-robed man's body flickered, and he retreated in a flash. However, before he got too far, there was a flash of light, and he disappeared. The moment the azure light shield seemed like it couldn't withstand the blade energy anymore, Wang Lin's body also disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, Wang Lin was where the man in black was, and the man in black appeared under the blade energy. Almost at the moment the black-robed man appeared, his pupils were replaced by endless blade glare. With a bang, the blade glare flashed by, and the black-robed man's body instantly shattered. As his flesh and blood exploded, he was split into two. However, the moment his body shattered, the black-robed man's nascent divinity was surrounded by a flame dragon and retreated. His nascent divinity was dim, and there was terror in his eyes. However, the crisis wasn't over yet. The blade energy destroyed the man in black's body and continued to chase after his origin soul. The blade energy was about to pierce through his origin soul. The man in black immediately sent out a divine sense filled with anxiety and fear. Lord Ancient Devil, I'm the Sovereign's seventh disciple, Luohua. The moment the black-robed man sent out this message, the blade energy around him suddenly paused and swept past him. It went around the black-robed man and charged at Wang Lin once more. All of this happened in a very short period of time. Wang Wei and Huan closed in at almost the same time and used their own spells to resist the blade energy chasing Wang Lin. Wang Lin was lucky enough to escape, but his expression was ferocious as he stared at the Ancient Devil. Ancient Devil Ta Jia took a step, but he didn't close in on Wang Lin. Instead, he arrived next to the man in black's origin soul and grabbed it. Then he took another step and appeared next to Wang Wei and Hu Wan, who were resisting the blade energy. The moment he closed in, Ancient Devil Ta Jia suddenly opened his mouth and let out a roar. Roar! The ancient races all had their own divine abilities. Although their forms were different, each ancient divine ability contained great power. Although the roar of an ancient devil couldn't compare to that of an ancient god, it was superior in that the demonic sound entered one's body and shook one's mind. With one roar, a giant shadow with a single horn appeared behind Ancient Devil Ta Jia. This shadow seemed to be the root of all devils in the world. As Ta Jia roared, the shadow opened its mouth and also let out a roar. Huan's body trembled, and she coughed out a mouthful of blood. Wang Wei coughed out even more blood and became dispirited. However, he clenched his teeth and grabbed Huan. He quickly retreated, and his right hand formed a seal. Countless water curtains appeared like crazy. At this moment of crisis, Wang Wei seemed to be going all out. The water curtains appeared endlessly, and in the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of water curtains appeared. However, before Ancient Devil Ta Jia, all of this was child's play. As he let out an angry roar, the water curtains collapsed the moment they appeared. Wang Wei and Huan coughed out more blood and charged at Wang Lin. Huan's face was pale as she quickly formed restrictions to fuse with the water curtains. However, even so, the water curtains continued to collapse under Ancient Devil Ta Jia's roar. If the two of them were like this, there was no need to talk about Master Void. Master Void coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his expression became bleak. As he retreated, his hands formed a seal, and a large amount of sand appeared around him. However, the moment the sand appeared, it collapsed before it could even take shape. The sand landed on Master Void's body, causing him to bleed profusely. Only Bei Lu, who was also an ancient clan member, could barely withstand it and quickly retreated. As for Wang Lin, popping sounds came from his body when he heard Ancient Devil Ta Jia's roar. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, but his expression became even more ferocious. Roar! The ferocious Wang Lin also let out an angry roar. This was the roar of an ancient god. As he roared, Wang Lin's body began to grow like crazy. At this moment, he could no longer hide. In an instant, his body grew to thousands of feet tall, as if he could support the world. The 5 stars rotated rapidly between his eyebrows, and ancient god power surged out from his body. What was even more strange was that Rosefinch's totem seemed to have fused with Wang Lin. When Wang Lin grew to thousands of feet tall, the totem expanded as well. It was as if blood was imprinted on his upper body. The tail of the Rosefinch totem even covered Wang Lin's face. At this moment, it looked like Wang Lin was both an ancient god and Rosefinch. Chapter 1065. After transforming into his ancient god true body, Wang Lin let out a roar that created a storm that collided with the ancient devil's roar. At the same time, the escaping ancient demon Bei Lu suddenly stopped and his eyes revealed a hint of crazed, demonic light. Today, the three ancient order clans have appeared at the same place. How spectacular! If I, ancient demon Bei Lu, continue to run, it would be unworthy of my identity as an ancient demon. The demonic light in Bei Lu's eyes became even stronger, and his body swelled up once more. His seven-star ancient demon body was thousands of feet tall and was almost the same size as Wang Lin's ancient god true body. At this moment, it was as if the battle here no longer belonged to the cultivators, but to the three ancient order clans that had existed since ancient times. Bei Lu's ancient demon body appeared, and he also let out a roar. The roar of an ancient demon turned into an invisible shockwave that joined forces with Wang Lin to charge at ancient devil Ta Jia. It's actually a royal ancient god. Ancient devil Ta Jia stared at Wang Lin. He clearly saw a sliver of golden light within the 5 stars between Wang Lin's eyebrows. This sliver of golden light represented the royal bloodline. The enraged roars of the three ancient clans transformed into an indescribable tempest that swept through the 8th floor of the immortal Emperor Cave. All of the buildings in the area collapsed, and even the sky itself seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Cracks spread out, and intense heat poured out in all directions. Ancient Demon Bei Lu took a step forward and shouted, "Ancient God, do you dare to fight this ancient devil with me?" Wang Lin's right hand formed a fist and reached at the void before him. A giant crack appeared, and a bolt of purple lightning shot out, pulling out a god-slaying spear. Wang Lin grabbed it and shouted, "Why wouldn't I dare?" Ancient Demon Bei Lu let out a laugh, and his right hand reached at the void. A 1,000-foot-long flag suddenly appeared. It swept across the sky and charged at Ancient Devil. Wang Lin stepped forward and charged at the Ancient Devil. Ancient Devil's eyes were filled with mockery. He raised his thick saber and swung it. Suddenly, a monstrous saber light appeared. He laughed wildly and said, "A mere 5-star ancient god and 7-star ancient demon dares to fight me?" As he laughed, the saber light shook the heavens and the earth. In the blink of an eye, it whistled forward. There were only 2 saber lights. The first one swept across the sky, and the second one swept across the earth. These 2 saber lights represented the heavens and the earth. Once they intersected, they would create a destructive force. Ancient Demon Bei Lu waved his right hand, and the 1,000-foot flag turned into countless strands of demonic energy that shot toward the ray of blade energy. His entire body was filled with demonic energy that shook the heavens and earth. Wang Lin threw the god-slaying spear forward, and a bolt of purple lightning appeared. The god-slaying spear collided with the blade energy on the ground. Thunderous rumbles echoed as the blade energy collided with the god-slaying spear. A powerful shockwave spread out, and the earth collapsed. From now on, there would no longer be a 9th floor in the Celestial Emperor Cave. The only thing left was the 8th floor with the 9th floor opened. Under this impact, Wang Lin's ancient god body felt an unimaginable impact. Popping sounds came from his body as if his bones were breaking. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his ancient god stars dimmed. The ancient demon's flag in the sky created a heaven-shaking rumble as it closed in on the blade. A ring-shaped shockwave swept the area, and even more cracks appeared in the sky. The cracks were filled with magma that looked like blood vessels. It was as if the sky would collapse if it was touched even the slightest bit. "Wang Lin, let's go all out against him. Otherwise, none of us will be able to escape this Celestial Emperor Cave today." Ancient Demon Bei Lu let out an angry roar and took a step toward the Ancient Devil. However, just as he took a step forward, he quickly retreated. He was so fast that he turned into an afterimage and was about to charge into the sky. However, although Ancient Demon Bei Lu was fast, Wang Lin was even faster. The moment Bei Lu let out a roar, Wang Lin had already grabbed Wang Wei and Huan. He charged into the sky, a bit faster than Ancient Demon Bei Lu, and threw a punch at the sky. The sky was already very fragile, and at this moment, it completely shattered under Wang Lin's punch. The sky collapsed. The moment the sky collapsed, endless magma fell from the sky like a rain of magma. Wang Lin jumped into the magma and charged upward. The ancient devil secretly cursed, but he didn't slow down and charged upward. Master Void had cultivated for many years. Although the early arrival of his first Heaven's Blight had caused his mind to be in chaos, he was unprecedentedly clear. The moment the sky collapsed, he coughed out blood and used the blood escape to charge into the magma. He ignored the high temperature of the magma and the injuries from the battle between the three Ancient Order clans. After charging into the magma, he no longer cared about looking for trouble with Wang Lin. He just wanted to escape this place as soon as possible. Along the way, he was seriously injured. At this moment, his cultivation level had fallen from Nirvana Shatterer to peak Nirvana Cleanser. A powerful sense of uneasiness shrouded his mind. This made the once all-powerful Master Void feel like a stray dog. When Wang Lin charged into the 7th floor, endless magma rushed at him. His body quickly shrank until he was the size of a normal person. His face was pale, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. The intense pain coming from his body caused him to slow down. Although he had turned into his ancient god body, he was still seriously injured by the ancient devil's blade energy despite having the god-slaying spear. However, if he hadn't done that, neither Wang Wei nor Hu Wan would have been able to escape. Even he himself wouldn't have had the chance to escape to the 7th floor. After all, Wang Lin's cultivation level was only at the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Scryer. Just at this moment, Hu Wan grabbed Wang Lin and Wang Wei and charged upward. Hu Wan had also taken the remaining pill, so her cultivation level had recovered. She brought Wang Lin and Wang Wei through the magma. The magma flowed out and entered Wang Lin's body. This caused Wang Lin's mind to tremble, and he quickly sent out a message. "Senior, please go ahead. While I was cultivating, I found a fire spirit here. Perhaps it can stop the ancient devil for a while." Hu Wan's eyes were filled with hesitation. If it was before, no matter how much she and Wang Wei admired Wang Lin, they wouldn't hesitate. However, Wang Lin had just saved them, so she would remember this kindness in her heart. At this moment, she didn't know that Wang Lin had saved Wang Wei from Master Void's sneak attack. This kindness was something she had to repay. Hu Wan looked at Wang Wei, who had helped her resist most of the blade energy and was seriously injured by the ancient devil's roar. Her eyes were filled with struggle. Right now, Wang Wei needed a heal, and Hu Wan didn't have time to wait. Senior can rest assured. Wang Lin's body flickered, and he left Hu Wan's side. He charged into the depths of the 7th layer, where the lava was pouring down. Hu Wan clenched her teeth and charged forward with Wang Wei. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared. After Hu Wan left, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The reason he was so desperate was to make Wang Wei and Hu Wan remember his kindness. As long as the two of them were grateful to him, then even if Qing Lin didn't awaken, the two of them wouldn't just help Sidu Nan. Even Zhou Yi's kindness would be completely different from theirs. Inside the magma, Wang Lin mercilessly inhaled without hesitation. As the magma continued to pour down, the fire origin energy inside entered Wang Lin's body like crazy. It flowed through his meridians, nourished his flesh, and fused with his bones. This caused Wang Lin's seriously injured body to recover. At this moment, Wang Lin wasn't as careful as before. He was extremely crazy. Rosefinch appeared around Wang Lin, and as a result, the fire origin energy inside the magma surged toward him. As more and more fire origin energy filled the area, the magma fell from the 7th layer to the 8th layer. Ancient Demon Bay, Lu, and Master Void charged out, and Ancient Devil Tai Jia caught up. At this moment, Wang Lin was crazily devouring the fire origin energy inside the magma, causing the magma inside the volcano to collapse. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar that caused the magma to rumble resounded from the depths of the volcano. A massive dragon's head suddenly rose from the depths of the magma. In that instant, all the magma that Wang Lin had yet to absorb or that had already fallen into the 8th layer seemed to have a mind of its own. All of it surged and gathered towards the dragon's head. In the blink of an eye, all the magma in the seventh layer disappeared, leaving behind an indescribable fire dragon that stared at all the living beings below it. At the same time, in the vast space outside the speck of dust that was the demon spirit land, a flame that seemed to burn space itself closed in. A giant rosefinch slowly closed in with the roar of the rosefinch. This rosefinch had a spirit, and it wasn't looking for the entrance to the East Demon Sea, but the real location of the demon spirit land. Behind the giant rosefinch were many cultivators, and among them were 6 old men. These 6 old men wore red robes and gave off monstrous auras of powerful cultivators. They were all Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The location of the true spirit is the location of the awakened clan member, and it is also the location where that mysterious feeling came from. I'm afraid this trip will be filled with danger, but even if we have to risk everything, we have to ensure the safety of the awakened clan member. The 6 of them looked at each other and saw the determination in each other's eyes. Behind them, the people of the Rosefinch Divine Sect also revealed determination in their eyes. At the same time, a majestic voice came from the planet above the vortex in the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. Temporarily postpone the battle with the Luo Tian and go to the Qing Lin's cave with all your strength. As this voice echoed, Shimizu's figure slowly appeared outside the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. He stared at the Cultivation Alliance headquarters, and his eyes revealed the red glow of the G realm. Tomorrow, Irju would conservatively release 3 episodes, and if he was excited, he would release 4 episodes. If he went all out, he would release more than 5 episodes. Tomorrow's situation wasn't known. It would depend on tomorrow. However, everyone's monthly votes were what made Irju so excited and desperate. In short, I'm crazy for the monthly votes. Smash the votes. Chapter 1066. At the same time, in the Alliance Star System, in the Brilliant Void Realm, the old man who had noticed Wang Lin revealed a complicated expression. He shook his head and took a step forward. His gaze fell on the indifferent Brilliant Void Saintess, Mu Bingmei. Your 9th avatar was destroyed by calamity. Since this calamity has arrived, why are you still hiding? The beautiful woman who had always been indifferent lowered her head and silently pondered. Since the 9th avatar is reborn because of him, no matter how you try to avoid it, you will have to face it. When you saved that young lady Zhou Ru back then, I knew that your mind was already in chaos because of the 9th avatar. The old man sighed in his heart. His body floated in the air as he raised his head to look at the void. Remember, you're the Brilliant Void Saintess, Mu Bingmei, not the Lu Mei that Suzaku had with that ordinary cultivator. You have the mission to restore the Brilliant Void Realm and the responsibility to fight against the people of the Outer Realm. The inner and outer realms will open soon. Before the old man finished speaking, the indifferent woman raised her beautiful face that could make anyone's heart pound and make them willing to do anything for her. He is not an ordinary cultivator, the old man frowned. Are you still going to be stubborn? I'm just telling you that he is not an ordinary cultivator. The indifferent woman's voice was calm, but her tone was a bit heavier. Good. Even if he is not an ordinary cultivator, even if he used some unknown method to come here with his mind, even if his cultivation can reach the peak of the 2nd step, so what? The old man revealed a hint of disdain. In the end, he is just a cultivator. The old man didn't know that the little cultivator he was talking about was an awakened that the Rosefinch Divine Sect was going to protect. He also didn't know that this little cultivator had the bloodline of an ancient god. This bloodline wasn't an inheritance, but a body that Wang Lin had created after his body collapsed using 2C's memories. This body was the source of the bloodline. He also didn't know that this little cultivator had the heaven-defying bead. The beautiful woman looked at the old man and calmly said, "You were once just a cultivator." The old man smiled bitterly, but he did not know what to say. Don't worry, I won't shirk my responsibilities as the Brilliant Void Saintess. However, you can't interfere with my private affairs, and you don't have the status to interfere. I don't need anyone to interfere with the matters between him and me. The voice of the absolute beauty was resolute, and there was no room for compromise. The old man sighed and didn't continue this topic. He looked at the sky and said, "My old friend's body has been possessed. I'm going to take a trip there. Are you coming with me?" The absolute beauty was silent for a moment. Her expression revealed a complicated expression, but in the end, she made up her mind and nodded, "Go." In the seventh level of the celestial Emperor Cave, all the lava condensed into a fire dragon. This dragon raised its head and stared at the people below. An invisible pressure immediately spread out. Amidst this pressure, two streams of heat came out of the fire dragon's nostrils. Its two huge dragon horns were completely crimson and emitted a strong heat aura. Its python-like body coiled around the people below, giving the fire dragon an aura that looked down on the world. Its gaze was filled with anger as it looked at the people below. The first person the fire dragon saw was Wang Lin. It felt a familiar aura from Wang Lin's weak body. This familiar aura was fire origin energy. Wang Lin was startled by the fire dragon's gaze, but he didn't lower his head. Instead, he slowly retreated. A moment later, the fire dragon withdrew its gaze and stared at Master Void, the ancient demon, and the ancient devil. It let out an angry roar and charged at the three of them. Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief and immediately retreated. When he spread out his divine sense, he saw the fire dragon roar, and the seventh level of the Celestial Emperor Cave turned into a sea of fire. Ancient Demon Bay, Lu's eyes lit up, and he unexpectedly stopped escaping. His hands formed a seal, and demonic energy surged. Then a green demonic head appeared and charged at the ancient devil to devour him. Master Void formed a seal, and the sand around him turned into a storm. It formed a sand barrier 100 feet wide to block the fire. However, with his current cultivation level, he couldn't block it for long. The moment the sand touched the fire, popping sounds echoed, and the sand quickly collapsed. As for ancient devil Tajia, his expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with bloodthirst. He took a step forward and laughed like crazy in his hoarse voice. "Why aren't you escaping? A mere fire dragon spirit that guarded this cave dares to attack its master." As the ancient devil spoke, his right hand formed a seal and pointed up. He shouted, "I'll let all of you see Celestial Emperor Qinglin's spell, devils burning the heavens." After he spoke, the ancient devil pointed with his finger and black devilish fire appeared. The moment the devilish fire appeared, it spread out in all directions. The intense heat immediately filled the seventh floor. Even the entire sky was filled with demonic flames. As it swept across the sky, it instantly turned black. It was filled with demonic flames. The heat from the flames contained demonic aura. Not only could it burn everything, it could even cause one's yuan spirit to collapse when it entered one's body. In an instant, the sky was covered in devilish fire. The fire dragon let out a roar, and its flames spread out like crazy to resist the devilish fire in the sky. Its body moved, and the entire seventh floor trembled. The fire dragon's giant body charged at the ancient devil. Ancient devil revealed a cold smile. He raised his right hand and pointed at the roaring fire dragon. At that moment, the devilish flames in the sky began to descend. They were like devilish meteors that shot toward the fire dragon. This scene shook the heavens and shook the earth. The boundless devil flames in the sky landed on Huolong's body. In the blink of an eye, Huolong's entire body was covered by the devil flames, causing Huolong's body to look like it was filled with a towering devil chi. Bursts of angry and painful roars echoed as the fire dragon struggled to charge forward. However, when it got close to the ancient devil Tajia's right hand pressed forward and an invisible force appeared. When the fire dragon was 100 feet away, it was caught by Tajia. No matter how much the fire dragon struggled and roared, it couldn't break free. This scene caused ancient Demon Bay Lu to suck in a breath of cold air. You can already use Qing Lin's spell and use the invisible force inside his body. Bei Lu's eyes were filled with terror. Bellow's eyes were filled with terror. He knew that this meant that ancient devil Tajia had reached the point where his body and heart had become one after possessing Qing Lin's body. Without any hesitation, ancient demon Bei Lu gave up all plans to attack while feeling bitter in his heart. He retreated once more. He understood that with his own strength, even if he joined forces with everyone else in the cave, he wouldn't be able to change the fact that Qing Lin had been possessed. Back then, I spared no expense to fight Qing Lin in this body for tens of thousands of years. It was all for Qing Lin's divine sense memories and cultivation base. Most importantly, it was for this body. The ancient devil grabbed the fire dragon and walked forward, laughing maniacally. Ancient devil, you and I were great enemies in the outer realm, but now you are like an ant before this devil. Once this devil completely fuses with Qing Lin's body, I'll be able to truly possess this body that Qing Lin has refined for countless years. It can break all laws, and no place in the world can stop me. With this body, this devil will be able to follow in the footsteps of the ancient ancestors and reach the true 9-star realm of my ancient devil clan. Once I reach the 9th-star realm, I'll be able to enter the ruins of the ancient ancestors and obtain the true power of returning to ancient times. Ancient devil Tajia's laughter echoed. As he moved forward, the fire dragon struggled to retreat and let out angry roars. However, the ancient devil waved his hand and the fire dragon was thrown away. Qing Lin's spell, Devil Burn the Heavens and Boil the Sea. The demonic flames in Tajia's eyes surged. In an instant, the 7th floor was filled with demonic aura. The demonic aura was so dense that it seemed to have solidified. In the blink of an eye, it had turned into a demonic sea. Wang Lin was inside the raging waves, and his eyes were filled with shock. Not only him, but even Master Void and ancient demon Bei Lu were trapped inside the devilish sea. The fire dragon in the distance was also roaring inside the devilish sea, but its eyes were filled with terror. When ancient devil Tajia said, "Burn the heavens and boil the sea," the devilish energy in the sea began to boil. Countless bubbles appeared on the surface of the sea, and the temperature was unimaginably high. Burning the sky and boiling the sea was meant to boil the entire ocean, causing it to completely dissipate and collapse. Furthermore, it was meant to make it so that anyone who was trapped within would not have any chance of struggling out. During his brief contact with ancient devil Tajia, Wang Lin found that as time passed, Tajia became stronger and stronger. This spell would have been very difficult for him to use on the 9th floor, but now he could use the spell of the Celestial Emperor. Thinking about Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's countless spells, Wang Lin's scalp went numb. However, right now, he didn't have time to think too much. He was inside the devilish sea, and the endless sea water was churning. The devilish fire in the sky continued to sink, and a large amount of water vapor appeared in the devilish sea. The sea water became smaller and smaller, and the devilish fire was like a cage that could burn a person alive. Just at this moment of crisis, Master Void revealed a miserable smile. He clenched his teeth and hit his forehead with his right hand. His body immediately collapsed. As his body collapsed, a powerful shockwave spread out. This shockwave caused a vortex to appear in the sea water, and even the devilish fire in the sky caved in. The moment his body exploded, Master Void's origin soul charged out. The monthly votes are only 15. Everyone's ears are exploding today. Can you make this exploding energy and make your ears excited? I'm risking my life. Chapter 1067. Today is a life and death crisis. The old man would rather risk his first heaven's blight than be cooked to death here. The moment Master Void's origin soul flew out, he opened his arms and revealed a decisive gaze. As he stretched out his arms, the Vermilion Bird True Spirit and the people of the Vermilion Bird Divine sect appeared in the endless space outside the Celestial Emperor Cave. 5 stars suddenly gave off an indescribable light. This light filled the entire area. No matter where you were, as long as you were in the Alliance star system, you could clearly see that 5 stars had suddenly appeared in the sky. It did not matter whether it was day or night. Nothing could stop the light emitted by the 5 stars. At that moment, one of the 5 stars suddenly shone with a much brighter light, immediately overshadowing the other 4 stars. At the instant its light reached its peak, it looked as if it had fallen from the sky and charged into the void. Among the stars, the old man from the brilliant void realm and the beautiful woman were moving forward when they both looked into the distance. The old man's expression was neutral, and he muttered, "Someone is going through his first heaven's blight." The brightest of the 5 stars fell at a speed that far exceeded the limits of any cultivator. It closed in on a location where the vermilion bird's true spirit had located in an instant, and a rumbling sound echoed in the starry sky. The brightest star spread out and disappeared into a cloud of dust as it closed in. It penetrated through the dust and entered the demon spirit land, causing the devilish energy in the demon spirit land to be pushed back. This ray of light penetrated the earth and went straight toward the celestial emperor cave. It went through 6 layers and directly entered the 7th layer. It landed on Master Void's origin soul, which was burning the heavens and boiling the sea. At this instant, Master Void's cultivation level increased like crazy, but his face was filled with pain and he let out a miserable scream. Borrowing the power of the first heaven's blight, Master Void broke through the devilish flames in the sky and charged forward. His origin soul was rapidly dissipating under the starlight. For a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator, the first heaven's blight was just the beginning. Ancient Devil Tajia originally wanted to reach toward Master Void, but his eyes lit up and he lowered his arm, going through the first heaven's blight in a seriously injured state. If this person doesn't die and succeeds, he can become one of my scattered devils. At this moment, Bei Lu, Wang Lin, and the Fire Dragon, who were trapped in the devilish sea, were in a life and death situation. The power of the Celestial Emperor's spell and the ancient devil's devilish energy had reached a terrifying degree. The seawater decreased greatly and the temperature became even higher. Even Wang Lin's rosefinch and ancient god body felt the burning pain. However, no matter how much he struggled, he couldn't charge out of the sea. All the devilish flames in the sky had fallen into the sea, causing the power of the spell to reach its peak. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with anxiety. The burning aura continued to rush into his body, making him feel like he was being cooked alive. His body felt sore, and at this moment of crisis, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with bitterness. He rarely miscalculated in his life, but this time he had to admit that he miscalculated. If he had left with Hu Wan and Wang Wei earlier, they wouldn't have fallen into this crisis. However, even then, the 3 of them wouldn't have been able to escape and would have been caught. At that time, they would still have to face the terrifying ancient devil Tajia. Whether it was before or after, the outcome was the same. Wang Lin had been in danger many times in his life. Whether it was when he faced the Blood Ancestor, when he faced the Yao family, or when he faced the land of the ancient god when he was at the core formation stage, Wang Lin had never given in. This time, Wang Lin didn't want to give in, but reality was cruel. However, none of this was enough to make Wang Lin's Tao heart collapse and make him give up. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He still had the heaven-defying bead. He still had source origin. At this moment, almost all of the devilish flames had dissipated, leaving behind only the devilish flames. The flames continued to burn as if they were going to burn all life here to death. The fire dragon looked dispirited and its body gradually shrank. Even it couldn't withstand this. Bei Lu's body was filled with demonic energy, but all of this was futile. The ancient devil's laughter echoed as he stared at the devilish flames. At this moment, there was a small person sitting on his shoulder. This was the origin soul of the man in black, but it had shrunk and was sitting there. There was a fire dragon around the man in black's origin soul. The man in black stared at the fire dragon inside the devilish flames with greed in his eyes. This fire spirit dragon was refined by Qing Lin and is loyal to Qing Lin. With its intelligence, it can naturally tell that this devil isn't Qing Lin. Luo Hua, since you're the sovereign's disciple, I'll let you devour this fire dragon. Tajia's voice was calm as he grabbed the origin soul of the man in black and threw it forward. This person's origin soul immediately turned into a fire dragon and charged out of the devilish flames. It was filled with greed as it charged at the weakened fire dragon. "Many thanks, Lord Ancient Devil." A divine sense filled with ecstasy came from the black-robed man's origin soul. Just as he was about to close in on the fire dragon lifted its head and revealed an unyielding arrogance in its eyes. It let out a mighty dragon roar that turned into sonic booms that echoed in the demonic fire, causing it to pause for a moment. The fire dragon formed by the man in black's origin soul immediately retreated a bit, but the greed in its eyes became even stronger. He wasn't in a rush. With Ancient Devil Tajia's spell, he determined that the fire dragon wouldn't be able to last much longer. The man in black's origin soul looked at the struggling Wang Lin with a greedy gaze and revealed a strange light. Also, his rosefinch's mind. However, just at this instant, something that shocked the man in black happened. The fire dragon let out a roar and unexpectedly struggled to move. Its large body suddenly shrank until it was only 100 feet tall, and it charged at Wang Lin. Its dragon eyes revealed a will to die and determination. It would rather die than let you devour it. If it had to die, then it would rather choose this person. After all, it could still feel a trace of familiarity from this person. This was outside of the man in black's expectations. Before he could react, the fire dragon charged out and closed in on Wang Lin in the blink of an eye. As Wang Lin opened his eyes and was startled, the fire dragon let out its last roar and charged into the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Endless fire energy entered Wang Lin's origin soul, and the rosefinch tattoo on his body suddenly awakened. It was as if new power had been injected into it, and Rosefinch's voice echoed. Although the fire origin energy within the fire dragon was different from Rosefinch's fire, it was still the fire of the world. As a result, when the fire dragon charged into the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows, the fire origin energy within Wang Lin's body increased at a crazy rate. Not only that, but as the two different flames fused together, something strange happened. It was as if rain had arrived on a land that had been dry for a long time, and oil had been added to a dying candle. Wang Lin's body trembled, and a large amount of sweat appeared on his forehead. There seemed to be an explosion of power within his body. He suddenly stood up, and with a single step, he gained the power to move under the demonic fire. The flames in his eyes surged into the sky, forming a firestorm that howled around him. Within the tempest, the vermilion bird circled about, as well as the illusory image of a flame dragon. The tempest instantly reached its peak, sweeping out in all directions and sucking in the devilish flames that were burning the heavens and earth. As it absorbed like crazy, the firestorm formed a giant vortex that gave off a terrifying suction force. All of this happened in an instant, and even Ancient Devil Tajia was startled. The man in black's origin soul was filled with terror and disbelief. At this moment, he no longer had any thoughts of devouring and quickly retreated. However, he was very close to the vortex, so just as he was about to retreat, he was pulled by the vortex. The Ancient Devil frowned. He raised his right hand and grabbed the black-robed man's origin soul. Just as he was about to take it back, a demonic light flashed in Ancient Demon Beilu's eyes. He was already in despair, but he didn't think that after Wang Lin absorbed the fire dragon, the fire in his body would mutate. He also clearly saw a white fire seed condensing like crazy inside Wang Lin's body. Essence fire seed. When he saw this, even with Beilu's status as an ancient demon, he gasped. His despair suddenly gave him a chance to struggle out. Only a sliver more, and this person will be able to completely condense a fire seed. Once the fire seed is formed, all the flames in the world will be under his control. Although there is a will inside this devilish fire, Tajia's possession hasn't reached perfection yet, so there is still a chance. Various thoughts flashed through Beilu's mind. Just as Ancient Devil Tajia was about to withdraw the man in black's origin soul, Beilu clenched his teeth and struggled. The 7 ancient demon stars in his right eye rotated rapidly, but in an instant, one of them suddenly collapsed. Ancient demon shattered star. The collapse of a demon star immediately turned into a powerful force that entered Bello's body. His body immediately struggled out. Although he could not escape the burning of the demon fire, nor could he rush out, he could still use divine abilities. His right eye flashed once more, and another ancient demon star shattered. The collapse of 2 ancient demon stars caused ancient demon Bay Lu's body to grow larger. With one step, he arrived before the man in black that the ancient devil was about to take away. He charged forward and turned into a vortex of demonic energy that collided with ancient devil Tajia's hand. Chapter 1068. There was a loud bang, and ancient demon Bay Lu coughed out a large amount of demonic energy. His body became even weaker, but his desperate charge allowed the black-robed man's origin soul to escape the ancient devil's control. The black-robed man's origin soul was terrified and wanted to escape again. However, Wang Lin's right hand suddenly reached out from the vortex and grabbed the black-robed man's origin soul. Just as the black-robed man was about to resist, endless flames came out from Wang Lin's right hand and wrapped around the black-robed man's origin soul. Then Wang Lin pulled the black-robed man's origin soul into the vortex. Inside the vortex, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. Without a word, he swallowed the black-robed man's origin soul. The moment he swallowed the black-robed man's origin soul, a thunderous rumble came from Wang Lin's body. He had absorbed the fire dragon, devoured the black-robed man's flame dragon, and fused with Rosefinch. These 3 types of flames caused the fire origin energy in Wang Lin's body to reach an unprecedented height. As the fire origin energy in his dantian became denser and the temperature became more intense, a fire seed the size of a fingernail condensed. The moment this fire seed appeared, all the demonic flames in the 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave suddenly paused and flew toward the vortex Wang Lin was in. They were so fast that they instantly fused with the vortex. Demonic flames, fire dragon, and flame dragon, these 3 types of flames fused with Rosefinch. Rosefinch was the main one, and the others were secondary. A fire mutation occurred, and a fire seed was formed. However, none of this was important. What was important was that after fusing with a large amount of flames and obtaining this great fortune, Wang Lin's Rosefinch showed signs of a second awakening. In the Rosefinch holy sect, the number of awakenings of those with the Rosefinch seal determined their cultivation level. This was the key to becoming the Rosefinch Divine Emperor. In the long history of the Rosefinch holy sect, if all the people with the seal had awakened once, then there would be a battle. The winner would become the emperor, and the loser would become the elder. However, if there was one person who had awakened twice, then there was no need for a battle. The Rosefinch Divine Emperor would belong to that person. As for a third awakening, there had never been such a thing in the history of the Rosefinch holy sect. The vortex around Wang Lin rose up, supporting the heavens and the earth. As it continued to absorb, an irreconcilable tornado of fire shot out from the mouth of the 7th floor. The instant it appeared, countless cracks appeared on the surface of the volcano. As the tornado of fire rushed out, the volcano collapsed. Countless rocks fell, and the volcano completely collapsed. As it collapsed, the incomparably huge tornado of fire shot up into the sky and slammed into the ceiling. Intense heat surged out, causing the 7th floor to connect to the 6th floor. The world of the 6th floor was immediately revealed in front of them. The pink-robed woman and the beautiful middle-aged woman were on the 6th floor. They were in the hall of the 6th floor, and they immediately felt the ground tremble. In shock, they saw the ground of the 6th floor collapse. The buildings on the 6th floor collapsed, and the countless restrictions were shattered. This scene was like the end of the world. However, the power of the tornado of fire didn't stop and continued to rush out. In the blink of an eye, it broke through the 5th floor. As the 5th floor collapsed, Wang Wei and Hu Wan, who had awakened, rushed out without hesitation after the tornado of fire. The tornado of fire continued to rush out after breaking through the fifth floor. The fourth floor collapsed. Situn stared dumbfoundedly at all of this. He sucked in a breath of cold air and followed the tornado of fire without hesitation. The third floor collapsed. The second floor collapsed. Fire surged into the sky in the first level of the Celestial Emperor Cave. Only then did it stop, but it did not dissipate. Instead, it shrank like crazy and continued to gather together. The endless firestorm suddenly disappeared and fused into a figure in the depths. There were no flames in Wang Lin's eyes, but there was an invisible flame surrounding his body. If one looked closely, they would see that Wang Lin's surroundings were distorted. It was as if they couldn't see through it. His hair had completely changed. As his white hair fluttered, Wang Lin took a deep breath and clenched his fist. Behind him, a vermilion bird materialized. This vermilion bird was no longer scarlet in color, but white instead. This kind of white was similar to snow, but anyone who saw this vermilion bird would immediately feel the unimaginably terrifying heat inside. The white rose finch surrounded Wang Lin's body with an arrogant expression. It was as if all life in the world had lost the qualification to stand before it and couldn't even look at it. As it circled, Rose Finch let out a roar that could penetrate the heavens and earth. Rose Finch, Second Awakening. At this instant, the entire world trembled. Master Void was hiding in a corner of the collapsed fourth floor. He was bitterly struggling, hoping to survive the first heaven's blight. Once the old man succeeds, not only will his injuries recover, but his cultivation level will increase dozens of times. Killing that Wang Lin will be like killing an ant. While he was struggling, he heard the voice of Rose Finch's Second Awakening. Master Void was startled for a moment, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. He could accept the First Awakening, but he had never thought about the Second Awakening. He clearly knew that the difference between Rose Finch's Second Awakening and the first was like heaven and earth. If the First Awakening could be said to be able to make the Vermilion Bird Holy Sect go all out to protect him, then the Second Awakening could make the Vermilion Bird Holy Sect go crazy. This could no longer be described as going all out to protect him, but at all costs. Although the Cultivation Alliance cared about the First Awakening and had to kill him, they wouldn't be shocked. However, Rose Finch's Second Awakening shocked even the Cultivation Alliance. Moreover, Master Void clearly knew that the time between the two awakenings was so short that it was almost negligible. Thinking about how Wang Lin, who had caused him to end up like this, had actually awakened a second time, Master Void coughed out a mouthful of essence, origin energy, and his mind went into chaos. The origin energy in his body went crazy, and his first Heaven's Blight showed signs of failure. The first Heaven's Blight was strange and unpredictable. Often, a single fluctuation in one's mind could cause one to fail, and once one failed, the result would be the destruction of one's origin soul. The moment Rose Finch's Second Awakening occurred, the giant Rose Finch's true spirit outside the demon spirit land let out Rose Finch's voice. At this instant, the people of the Rose Finch divine sect around Rose Finch's true spirit all widened their eyes. The 6 Nirvana Shatterer cultivators all gasped. Second Awakening. He actually awakened a second time in such a short period of time. The hope of my Rose Finch divine sect is about to arrive. If this person is safe, my Rose Finch divine sect will rise again. In the deepest part of the Vermilion Bird divine sect's burning starfield, the Vermilion Bird divine sect's divine emperor, who had lived for countless years, stood on top of a white stone. At this moment, the eyes of the Vermilion Bird divine sect's divine emperor that had lived for countless years shined brightly. Second Awakening. His breathing became rough. After pondering for a bit, he struggled to get up, but in the end, his old body didn't succeed. I don't have much time left. It's worth it to give up some of my remaining time for this clan member that has awakened a second time. The old man let out a sigh and closed his eyes. However, in the instant that he closed his eyes, an indescribable power of flame erupted out of him. The entire burning starfield trembled, and popping sounds echoed out as if it were on the verge of collapsing. Shortly after, an origin soul slowly floated out from the old man's body. This origin soul didn't look old. It was that of a middle-aged man. He looked down at his body, and his eyes revealed an ancient gaze. It has been a very, very long time since my origin soul has left my body. He shook his head and took a step forward. A vortex immediately appeared in the sea of fire before him. He stepped into the vortex and disappeared. In the 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, ancient devil Jia looked at the vortex and revealed a serious expression for the first time. What he cared about wasn't the Rosefinch awakening, but the trace of inexplicable terror he felt from this ancient god. A royal ancient god and a vermilion bird holy beast actually fused together. But that's not the important point. The important point is that just now, when I was about to stop him, he actually made my heart skip a beat. Just what else does he have? At this moment, ancient demon Beilu had borrowed the power of the Wang Lin and Rosefinch's second awakening to escape the devilish fire. He no longer had any intention of fighting the ancient devil. He just wanted to escape, leave this place, and quickly return to the outer realm. I can't beat this Tajia. Beilu felt bitter in his heart. He had suffered a great loss this time. Half of his ancient demon body had been devoured, and he had been seriously injured in order to escape the devilish fire. At this moment, he charged upward like lightning. Ancient devil Tajia's eyes lit up. Among everyone here, the one he couldn't let go the most was this ancient demon. Suojia no longer thought about the matter of Wang Lin and charged at the ancient demon. The more time passed, the more flexible his control over his body became, and the greater the power he could display. At this moment, his speed was several times faster than before. In the blink of an eye, he had closed the distance between him and ancient demon Bei Lu. The 3rd chapter is over, but there aren't many monthly votes. If this is everyone's limit, then I won't say much, but compared to the subscriptions, there will be more than this. If my hard work and seriousness haven't moved you and haven't reached the conditions for you to vote, then today, I'll fight again. Now I continue to write the 4th chapter. My fingers are hurting, but I clench my teeth and write. November, I'm fighting. Chapter 1069. Beilu clenched his teeth and charged forward, but ancient devil Jia moved even faster. Seeing that Beilu was about to be unable to escape, Beilu clenched his teeth, and the 3rd ancient demon star in his right eye collapsed. Borrowing the power of the shattered star, he charged into the 6th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. There was a flash of demonic light, and he locked onto the 2 women who were also escaping. In a flash, he closed in on the 2 women. His demonic right hand reached out toward the woman in pink. The woman in pink's face immediately turned pale, but there was no panic in her eyes. The moment the ancient demon's claw closed in, the snowflake mark between her eyebrows flashed, and a whistling sound echoed. A snowflake tornado appeared around her. The moment the ancient demon's right hand reached out, it collided with the snowflake storm. Popping sounds echoed, and the ancient demon's right hand was knocked back. The woman in pink coughed out a mouthful of blood that dyed the snowflake before her red, and she was thrown back. Gu Yao let out a soft cry of surprise, but he did not hesitate. His right hand swept out, and this time, with lightning speed, he directly grabbed the top of the beautiful woman's head. With the ancient demon's cultivation and spells, the beautiful woman, who had just recovered and was still injured, couldn't resist at all. After she was grabbed by ancient demon Beilu, his demonic spiritual energy rushed out and sealed all the meridians in her body. At this moment, ancient devil Tajia closed in. Beilu didn't have time to think and grabbed the beautiful woman. There was a flash of demonic light in his eyes as he retreated. His left hand formed a seal and pointed at the beautiful woman several times. Every time he pointed, a sliver of demonic spiritual energy would enter her body. In the blink of an eye, the beautiful woman's body trembled and all the blue blood vessels under her skin swelled up. They intersected to form a giant rune. As ancient devil Ta Jia closed in, ancient demon Bei Lu grabbed the beautiful woman and threw her forward. His eyes shined brightly, and he shouted, "Demon spirit transformation!" As soon as these words were spoken, all the blood vessels in the beautiful woman's body exploded, and she immediately transformed into a mist of blood. Her body and soul had been destroyed. However, the moment she collapsed, a rune appeared. The moment the rune appeared, a suction force immediately appeared and absorbed all the flesh and blood in the blink of an eye. Even the woman's shattered origin soul was not spared. After absorbing everything, the magical symbol shone with blinding demonic light as it shot toward the 5th level. After the ancient demon finished doing all of this, he seemed to have consumed a lot of demonic energy. The remaining 4 ancient demon stars his right eye dimmed, but he didn't escape again. He suddenly turned around and stared at ancient devil Ta Jia with a hint of madness. "Fight! We could buy some time for the demon spirit to escape." The demon spirit transformation was a life-saving divine ability of the ancient demon clan. However, none of the ancient demons would use it unless they had no other choice. The biggest flaw of this divine ability was that it required someone of the opposite surname to be the cultivation cauldron. Even if he succeeded, he would lose a large portion of his cultivation, leaving behind only a remnant of his divine sense. Bei Lu had been forced into a dead end, and after seeing the 2 women, he had no choice but to use this divine ability. At this moment, his eyes were filled with madness. The ancient demon stars in his right eye rotated rapidly and then collapsed. 1, 2, 3, 4 ancient demon stars all collapsed in an instant. The collapse of the 4 ancient demon stars caused ancient demon Bei Lu's body to swell up like crazy. The madness in Bei Lu's eyes became even stronger, and he roared, "Ta Jia, even if I can't kill you, I'll make it so your possession doesn't succeed. All of this was forced by you." Ancient demon Bei Lu let out an angry roar and suddenly charged forward. As he charged forward, he split from 1 into 2, then 4, then 8. In the blink of an eye, ancient demon Bei Lu's figure was everywhere. As he closed in on ancient devil Ta Jia, a thunderous rumble echoed. Ancient demon Bei Lu had chosen to self-destruct. "I'd rather die than let you feel pain." Thunderous rumbles echoed as all of the ancient demons' avatars collapsed. A powerful impact spread across the 7th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, causing the entire 7th floor to collapse. The woman in pink's eyes were filled with grief and indignation, but she didn't have time to think too much. The moment the ancient demon charged toward the ancient devil, she immediately charged into the 6th floor. However, she didn't get far before she felt the impact behind her. As for Wang Lin, he was in the 1st floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. Rosefinch's voice echoed behind him, and an invisible fire spread out. His gaze looked down from the passage that connected all the floors of the Celestial Emperor Cave. His hands didn't stop, and countless runes flashed. They continued to fall into the pit below. Every time a rune landed, a large amount of gravel would fall from the pit. At this moment, Wang Wei and Huan also charged out. They immediately saw through Wang Lin's plan and didn't hesitate to use spells to land on either side of Wang Lin. The earth began to tremble as if it was affecting the entire demon spirit land. At this moment, there was an earthquake in the demon spirit land. Situ Nan rushed out of the deep pit and cursed incessantly. "Damn it, this damn place. Once I get out, I'll definitely go in a closed-door cultivation." When Situ Nan charged out and saw Wang Lin, he immediately gasped. He also saw through Wang Lin's plan. He didn't hesitate to fly into the air and use spells to bombard the ground. The earth trembled even more violently, as if the entire Celestial Emperor Cave was about to collapse. At this moment, the people that had entered the 2nd floor flew out. Big Head, the 3 Chin brothers, Lei Ji, the 2 disciples of the beautiful woman, and even Master Hollow Wind were among them. After these people charged out and saw Wang Lin, they were startled. Their eyes were filled with terror, and they quickly scattered. Master Hollow Wind's eyes were filled with understanding. It was obvious that he had guessed Wang Lin's plan, but he didn't know why. After all, he had never experienced the terror of the ancient devil below. He didn't even know about the ancient devil's existence. Just as the earth trembled even more violently, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. His hand formed a seal, and he pointed down. He let out a roar, and the giant rosefinch behind him let out a roar. It charged out from Wang Lin's body and charged down into the pit. The endless flames immediately surrounded it and charged down like crazy. At this moment, Wang Wei's eyes were bloodshot. He formed a seal, and a monstrous sea followed Rosefinch into the pit. Hu Wan and Situ Nan did the same. They used their most powerful spells and followed Rosefinch into the pit. At that instant, waves of cold air came from the deep pit. The woman in pink was surrounded by countless snowflakes, and she struggled to break out. At the instant the attacks landed, the snowflakes on her body spun rapidly, and she managed to break out by a hair's breadth. Rosefinch fell into the pit that pierced through the Celestial Emperor Cave. At this instant, thunderous rumbles echoed from the second floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. Under the various spells from Rosefinch, the Celestial Emperor Cave began to truly collapse. Thunderous rumbles filled the world and continued to echo. The ground immediately sank and sealed all the exits, causing the inside to be shrouded in a spell. The muffled rumbles came from below along with the roars of the ancient devil. After using the spells, Wang Lin's hands formed another seal and restrictions quickly fell. Huan didn't stop either and cast restrictions with Wang Wei. The three of them were very fast, and a large amount of restrictions fell on the collapsed ground. They were so densely packed that they seemed to form a huge net. At that moment, muffled roars rang out even more crazily from the collapsed ground. As the roars reverberated, the ground trembled even more violently. It was as if there was a force about to charge out, as if there was a person who wanted to break through everything and slaughter all living beings within. The expressions of the surrounding cultivators who didn't know about the ancient devil changed greatly. Master Hollow Hope sucked in a breath of cold air. He could clearly feel the ferocious aura coming from below, causing his heart to tremble. He didn't hesitate to cast the few restrictions he knew. As for the others, those who knew how to use restrictive spells, they also did the same, trying to contribute their strength. The roars from the ground got closer and closer, and the tremors became even more intense. Large amounts of rubble began to collapse from the tremors. It's too late. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and slapped his bag of holding. Qing Shuang's body appeared before him. He didn't care about Wang Wei and Huan's feelings as his right hand hit Qing Shuang's back. This palm wasn't to injure Qing Shuang, but to force all the blood out of her body so it wouldn't dissipate. When his palm landed, Qing Shuang coughed out a large mouthful of blood. The moment the blood appeared, Wang Lin waved his hand and turned it into a blood mist that covered the earth. Origin energy shot out from his palm once more, and Qing Shuang coughed out more blood. Wang Lin scattered all the restrictions on the ground. Just at this instant, a heaven-shaking rumble came from the earth. A monstrous, devilish energy rushed out and turned all the rubble into dust. Ancient devil Tajia slowly flew out from within the devilish energy. However, when the demonic aura collided with the densely packed restrictions above, it immediately dissipated like snow melting. What was strange was that there were 4 people floating behind ancient devil Tajia: Tian Yunzi, Ling Tianho, Master Void, and the humanoid thing that had walked out from the ancient god's head. The humanoid thing's hair and beard swayed as it floated next to Tajia. It was as if Tajia was its master. When Wang Lin saw this, a thought flashed through his mind. When he first saw this humanoid thing, he didn't think it was an ancient devil. However, now that he saw this, he had a guess in his heart. This chapter was slow. His mind was in a state of excitement, but his fingers would occasionally cramp. Every time his fingers cramped, he would have to lift them up and endure the pain. It would take a long time for his fingers to recover, and this affected his typing speed. It's just the monthly votes. Forget it. Let's not talk about the monthly votes. I'll continue to work hard. Wait for my 5th chapter. Chapter 1070. The ancient god had Wang Yu as his pet, so the ancient devil naturally had something similar to Wang Yu. This human-shaped thing was obviously one of them. This thing didn't exist when the ancient god was alive, but was placed here after his death. After the ancient devil and the celestial emperor entered the cave, it split off and entered the head of the ancient god in the celestial burial pool for some unknown reason. Although Master Void was also standing behind ancient devil Tajia, his state was very strange. His eyes were dull and filled with madness. There was a tattoo between his eyebrows that gave off dense, devilish energy. It was obvious he was sealed by Tajia. However, Wang Lin could clearly feel that Master Void's aura was rapidly dissipating and he was on the verge of death. Ling Tianho's expression was complicated. He subconsciously avoided Wang Lin's gaze and looked to the side. No one knew what he was thinking. The most unpredictable person was Tian Yunzi. Tian Yunzi's expression was calm, just like when he first entered the Celestial Emperor Cave. His eyes revealed that he understood everything. When Wang Lin looked at him, Tian Yunzi smiled in response. When he saw Tian Yunzi and company appear, Wang Lin let out a sigh. He knew that the blood on the restriction was only effective against ancient devil Tajia. As for Tian Yunzi and company, it was useless. Fortunately, this was the first floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, so it wasn't difficult to leave. However, for some reason, he felt like there was something strange about everything that had happened, but he couldn't tell what was strange. He had a bad feeling in his heart. When he saw Tian Yunzi standing behind ancient devil Tajia, this bad feeling became even stronger. In truth, everything that had happened in a very short period of time, and he hadn't had time to think about it. Now that he thought about it, it was as if everything that had happened had been forced out of him by the ancient devil. It was as if everything had been planned by the ancient devil. It was just like Tian Yunzi's scheme. It was terrifying. That feeling lingered in Wang Lin's heart, and he silently retreated. Situ then had been watching Wang Lin. When he saw Wang Lin retreating, he immediately ran towards Wang Lin and retreated with him. Wang Wei and Huan were the same. In an instant, all the surrounding cultivators rushed forward. A smile appeared on Tian Yunzi's face. He lifted his hand and pointed forward. Immediately, gray light shone on his body, and the gray-robed Tian Yunzi manifested. He cast a cold glance at Tian Yunzi's real self and let out a harumph, but he still charged towards the seal. Boundless slaughter energy filled the air and instantly turned into an endless amount of slaughter energy that rushed into the restriction. Rumbling sounds suddenly rang out, and the restriction immediately flickered violently. However, the restriction here wasn't just set up by Wang Lin alone. There was also Wang Wei and Huan. In particular, Huan's restriction mastery had reached a peak and far surpassed Wang Lin's. As a result, the restriction here wasn't something the gray-robed Tian Yunzi could easily break. This bought everyone some time. As Wang Wei retreated, he pointed up and a curtain of water appeared. The curtain of water turned into a giant made of water. The giant swung its fist and smashed down, causing the earth to tremble and large amounts of rocks to fall. Huan didn't leave, but stood in the distance. Her hands formed seals, and she continued to place down large amounts of restrictions to consolidate the power of the restriction. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His hands formed seals, and he attacked with Wang Wei. The surrounding people didn't hesitate to attack. Thunderous rumbles echoed across the first floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave. At this moment, in the space outside the Demon Spirit Land, the 6 Nirvana Shatterer cultivators were sitting around Rosefinch's true spirit. Their hands were forming seals, and they were chanting. They would occasionally point at Rosefinch's true spirit, causing the fire inside Rosefinch's true spirit to become even stronger. A moment later, Rosefinch's true spirit suddenly let out a roar. As its roar echoed, a sea of red flames spread out. The heat inside the flames had no effect on the people of the Rosefinch Divine Sect, but it could burn any dust that couldn't be seen by the naked eye or divine sense. As the flames burned, all the dust collapsed, leaving only one spot. This was the location of the demon spirit land. The only speck of dust that existed was burning with flames, causing its location to be clearly visible to everyone. The vermilion bird's true spirit let out a cry as it charged out towards the speck of dust. Thunderous rumbles echoed as Rosefinch's true spirit continued to slam into the seal on the dust. Every time it slammed, the seal would loosen. The surrounding 6 Nirvana Shatter cultivators all used spells to bombard it. The seal that Qing Lin had personally left behind in the celestial realm trembled even more violently. The impact from the outside was clearly transmitted into the demon spirit land. The entire demon spirit land began to tremble, and even the people inside the cave could feel the intense trembling. However, no one paid attention to this. As everyone continued to attack, the barrier between the Celestial Emperor Cave and the demon spirit land collapsed. The moment the barrier collapsed, the gray-robed Tian Yunzi broke Huwan's restriction and charged out. Huwan's face was pale as she retreated. Wang Wei pulled her toward the broken barrier. Ancient Devil Ta Jia stepped out with a gloomy smile. He opened his mouth and inhaled. Endless devilish energy spread out like crazy. This devilish energy turned into black dragons that charged at everyone. The second of the 3 Chun brothers was immediately surrounded by a devil dragon. He struggled in despair as he was devoured by the ancient devil. Wang Lin wanted to save him, but he was a step too late. There was also one of the female disciples of the beautiful woman, and she was also caught by the black dragon. Even Qianqin's face was pale, and she was about to be swept by the black dragon. At this moment, the woman in pink charged out with snowflakes revolving around her. She grabbed Qianqin and charged toward the broken barrier. The black dragon landed on her and collided with the snowflakes. The woman in pink coughed out a mouthful of blood. The snowflakes around her had blocked many attacks for her, but at this moment, they could no longer withstand it and shattered. However, the woman in pink pulled Qianqin and charged out. Although this was the case, Big Head and company still managed to charge out with the help of Situ Nan and Master Hollow Void, as well as the woman in silver that Wang Lin had summoned. However, the crisis wasn't over. Ancient Devil Ta Jia stepped out, and his right hand mercilessly squeezed. With this squeeze, everyone that had just charged out of the barrier and stepped into the demon spirit land felt a powerful pressure. Qianqin's cultivation level wasn't high enough, so she coughed out blood and her body collapsed. Even the woman in pink trembled and her body collapsed into a mist of blood. However, there was a treasure from the brilliant void realm around the woman in pink's origin soul. At this moment, the treasure shined and shrouded her and Qianqin's origin souls. However, the 2 women's nascent divinities had been seriously injured and had been enveloped by magical items. Although they hadn't collapsed, they had begun to fuse together. It wasn't just the 2 of them. The remaining 2 of the 3 Chun Dao Masters sank into Master Ichenzi. The 3rd Chun Dao Master's fleshly body collapsed, and his nascent divinity was saved by Master Ichenzi. Although Lei Ji's cultivation level was ordinary, his physical body was not weak. However, even so, half of his body collapsed, and the remaining half was saved by Big Head, who was lucky enough not to be injured in this crisis. As for Master Hollow Void and Situnan, both of them were at the Nirvana Cleanser stage. Although they coughed out blood, their bodies didn't collapse. However, Situnan's expression was strange. Due to his serious injuries, the poison in his body had flared up. The ancient devil's spell could have killed all of them. The reason this happened was largely due to Wang Wei and Huwan. The moment ancient devil Ta Jia attacked, they immediately resisted and withstood a majority of the spell. The reason they did this was because they knew that some of these people had a close relationship with Wang Lin. They had to repay Wang Lin's kindness. Wang Lin was also resisting the ancient devil spell. After sharing the burden with Wang Wei and Huwan, Wang Lin coughed out blood, and his expression became bleak. His origin soul had been seriously injured and had weakened greatly. Although he had endless fire origin energy, he couldn't stop his origin soul from dissipating. Even the ancient god leather armor couldn't do much against these kinds of injuries. After all, the enemy Wang Lin was facing was the ancient devil that had taken over Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to take out the pill Wang Wei had given him. He crushed it and swallowed it. This pill was very mysterious. The moment he swallowed it, the injuries to his origin soul stopped spreading and quickly healed. Wang Wei and Huan were also dispirited, and blood flowed out from the corner of their mouths. They looked at each other with bitter smiles, but their eyes were filled with determination. Wang Lin, the two of us will risk our lives to delay the ancient devil. Let's not talk about teacher's revival anymore. If you have the chance in the future, save Qing Shuang for us. Wang Wei's right hand reached out and a crack appeared before him. Zhou Yi was thrown out. The two of us have lived for too long and have entered this cave many times. However, due to some reasons, we have never been able to get close to teacher. I didn't expect this to be the result. Wang Wei's expression was complicated. At this moment, ancient devil Tai Jia slowly walked out from the barrier. He looked at the sky with a hint of excitement on his face and began to laugh like crazy. Qing Lin, oh, Qing Lin, you've wasted so much effort. In order to prevent me from leaving this place after successfully possessing your body, you've set up the rules so that I can't leave this cave with your body, and I can't destroy any of the restrictions. But with just a mere illusion, I made these people who came to save you open a path for me and easily break through the rules you've set. Ancient devil Tai Jia clenched his fist and looked at the world. The excitement in his eyes became even stronger. After he spoke, Wang Wei and Huan's faces became pale. Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air. The bad feeling in his heart disappeared, and his gaze toward the ancient devil shrank. Now I'll let you all experience this devil's true power. Ta Jia laughed like crazy and raised his right hand. His eyes were filled with bloodlust. Right at this moment, the entire ground suddenly trembled, and even the sky started to distort. An illusory image suddenly appeared in the sky. This image was of a palace surrounded by a sea of purple and red flowers. Ancient devil, you were able to break one of my husband's plans, but you didn't know that after you walked out of the cave, you also stepped into the second rule my husband set for you. A cold and beautiful voice echoed across the world. A woman in white gradually walked out from the illusory palace. Flower Imperial Concubine. Wang Lin suddenly looked up at the sky. At the same time, the seal on the demon spirit land finally loosened under the bombardment of Rosefinch's true spirit. It could be broken at any time. Similarly, a light formed by the law of the beginning of the stars shined on the demon spirit land. Wherever it was the beginning of the sun. He was exhausted and his fingers were numb, making it difficult for him to lift them. Perhaps I smoked too much and felt uncomfortable, so I won't continue. Fellow cultivator, I've tried my best. Chapter 1071. When the Flower Imperial Concubine appeared, the shadow of the palace in the sky above the demon spirit land gradually became real. It was as if it had moved out of Wang Lin's cave. The moment the Flower Imperial Concubine walked out, the palace that seemed to be real and the colorful flowers around it began to shrink. In the blink of an eye, it was the size of a palm. As the fragrance of the flowers spread out, it landed on the Flower Imperial Concubine's hand and turned into an exquisite miniature. She closed her jade-like hand, and the miniature disappeared into the Flower Imperial Concubine's body. The Flower Imperial Concubine raised her head that could make one's heart pound and calmly looked at ancient devil Tai Jia. There was a flash of melancholy and sadness in her eyes. They had parted countless years ago, and although they were very close, it felt like they were worlds apart. It wasn't until today that they could meet again. However, this meeting was like the moon in the water, a flower in the mirror, and what she saw was not the soul of the past. It was like looking at the river from the other side. There was green water at the bottom of your eyes, but when you step into the river, you always feel like something is missing. Green mountains and green water, one is missing a soul. There was a flash of red in ancient devil Tai Jia's eyes as he looked at the Flower Imperial Concubine. His eyes were filled with bloodlust and greed as he laughed like crazy. I have long heard that Qing Lin was very lucky with women. All 8 of his concubines were extremely beautiful, and the flower imperial concubine was the most outstanding. It was said that she came from the Wind Celestial Realm and was the little sister of the Wind Celestial Emperor, Lan Yun. Although your husband, Qing Lin, is dead, his body is still here. Follow this devil and become a furnace for the flower imperial concubine. Ta Jia laughed as he stepped forward and his right hand reached out. Although ancient devil Ta Jia was laughing like crazy, his mind was filled with caution. He wasn't afraid of the flower imperial concubine, but he dreaded Qing Lin too much. According to what the flower imperial concubine had said, Qing Lin had already left a lot of backup plans before he even succeeded in his possession. The appearance of the flower imperial concubine was obviously one of Qing Lin's arrangements. This Qing Lin was able to become the strongest celestial emperor, and even us outer realm cultivators know of his name. Aside from his powerful cultivation level, he is also like the will of the heavens. Everything in the world is contained within a single inch of his time. As ancient devil Ta Jia moved, the demon's spirit land trembled and black fog appeared in the sky. As Ta Jia's right hand reached out, the black fog condensed into a giant, black arm that reached toward the flower imperial concubine. At the same time, the humanoid figure beside Ta Jia glanced at Wang Lin with a cold gaze. His body flickered as he charged at Wang Lin. Before he even got close, there was a sudden whistling sound. Master Void was in a sorry state right now. Although he was standing there, his breathing was very short. Even from a distance, one could clearly hear his breathing. This was no longer a sound a human could make. It was like the sound of a wild beast. What was even more terrifying was that not only was Master Void's breathing short, there was saliva coming out from the corner of his mouth and dripping to the ground. This saliva was like mucus, and when it dripped to the ground, it left a long, crystalline trail. It was enough to make one feel nauseous. His eyes were bulging, and his bloodshot eyes were filled with madness and sluggishness. His old face was no longer benevolent, and his facial features were twisted together as if he had lost his mind. He also stared at Wang Lin. In his last memory, there was hatred and killing intent toward Wang Lin. With a roar, Master Void followed the humanoid figure and charged at Wang Lin. Tian Yunzi's expression was still calm, and his eyes were calm as if he had understood everything. It was as if this trip to the Celestial Emperor Cave had been within his grasp and nothing had deviated from his calculations. Ling Tianho still had his head lowered. There was struggle, complexity, confusion, and guilt in his eyes. The humanoid figure and Master Void were naturally blocked by Wang Wei and Huan. However, the Celestial Cloud couple were both injured, and the humanoid figure was extremely strange. As a result, it was difficult to determine a winner in a short period of time. As for Master Void, he was breathing heavily. When Wang Wei and Huan were about to stop him, the madness in his eyes became even stronger. He was looking for Wang Lin, and if anyone dared to block him, he would charge out without a care for anything. The moment Wang Wei closed in, Master Void let out a roar and his body began to move. It looked extremely strange. Wang Wei's expression changed, and he retreated without hesitation. However, just as he retreated, Master Void suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of black blood. This blood gave off a strong stench, and when Master Void spat it out, his body trembled uncontrollably. That large amount of blood was almost all the blood in Master Void's body. After a large amount of blood was spat out, it seemed to have intelligence and turned into a blood net that shot toward Wang Wei. Wang Wei's right hand formed a seal, and with a bang, an iceberg appeared before him. The ice mountain appeared too suddenly and immediately blocked the large amount of blood. However, the black blood seemed to contain a strange high temperature. After it sprayed on the ice mountain, it immediately melted the ice mountain and dyed it black. Wang Lin, this is the first heaven's blight of a peak nirvana shatterer cultivator, the flesh blight. This person's body will continue to deteriorate until it completely decays and his origin soul will be destroyed. Wang Wei anxiously said. He wanted to continue blocking Master Void, but Huan's battle with the humanoid figure had been pushed back due to her serious injuries. At this critical moment, Wang Wei waved his hand, and a large iceberg appeared before Wang Lin. Then he charged at Huan to help her deal with the strange humanoid thing. Without anyone blocking him, Master Void charged at Wang Lin with saliva and black blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. The madness in his eyes became even stronger. At this moment, he no longer looked like an elder of the Cultivation Alliance. He was clearly an ugly beast. Looking at Master Void, Wang Lin was shocked. He wasn't shocked by Master Void's arrival, but by the 5 Heavens Blights he had heard so many times recently. This is the first Heavens Blight. After reaching the second step, there was almost no limit to one's lifespan. The origin energy of the world could turn into endless vitality and fill the body. However, the heavens wouldn't allow any life to live as long as the heavens. The Nirvana Shatterer's 5 Heavens Blights was a boundless calamity. It didn't mean that those below the Nirvana Shatterer stage would be safe. On the contrary, an even more terrifying calamity awaited them. At this moment, Master Void arrived while panting violently and instantly closed in on the iceberg. He opened his mouth and spat out more blood. This time, there was no more blood in his body. Aside from the stench, there was also a lot of rotten organs. As for the Flower Imperial Concubine, the moment ancient Devil Tajia's black palm closed in, she raised her jade-like hand and pointed forward. A ball immediately appeared at her fingertip. There was a ball of gas inside the ball, and there were countless illusions within it. The fragrance of flowers filled the air as the ball rose into the air. The moment the giant palm closed in, it collided with the ball. With a bang, the palm trembled and collapsed into countless strands of black gas that were pushed back. Ancient Devil Tajia's pupil shrank, and he let out a cold snort as he charged at the Flower Imperial Concubine. His hands formed a seal, and the world changed colors. As the wind and clouds moved, the black gas in the sky condensed into balls of black gas. After these balls of black gas appeared, they began to move. I believe you must be very familiar with this spell. As ancient Devil Tajia laughed, his right hand reached at the sky, and he shouted, "Star Burial." The moment he said this, the black mist in the sky moved even faster. In an instant, they turned into spheres. As soon as they appeared, they released starlight. At this moment, the sky was dark. However, under the starlight emitted by the countless spheres, the earth was actually illuminated in a resplendent manner. My husband's sun, moon, and star spell, the star burial spell. The Flower Imperial Concubine revealed a complicated expression, but she shook her head and softly said, "However, with your power, you can't display the true power of my husband's spell." As Tajia sneered, he waved his right hand. Immediately, the countless balls drawn by the black fog in the sky became even more dazzling. As they intersected with each other, the starlight actually turned from invisible to tangible. It was as if rays of light intersected with each other and filled the sky. As Tajia waved his hand, the countless rays of starlight that intersected with each other descended from the sky and charged at the Flower Celestial. It was as if they were going to bury the Flower Celestial here. If my husband uses this star burial spell, he can extract the power of the stars and turn it into a powerful spell that can cover the entire star domain. He can fight 10,000 people or 100,000 people, but if he fights one person, that person will have to resist all the starlight in the star domain. There was a hint of contempt in the Flower Imperial Concubine's eyes. She didn't even look at the starlight descending from the sky. Her right hand formed a seal, and she spat out a mouthful of fragrance. Then 9 balls appeared around her. The 9 balls contained the power of origin. They surrounded the Flower Imperial Concubine and seemed to form a rune. At the moment the rune appeared, the starlight in the sky gathered on her. At this instant, the Flower Imperial Concubine became the brightest spot in the sky. At the same time, outside the Demon Spirit Land, as the Rosefinch's true spirit and the Rosefinch divine sect continued to attack. The seal on the demon spirit land began to collapse. At the same time, the sky above the demon spirit land began to collapse. It was as if the entire sky was the seal, and it began to shatter inch by inch. The sky was filled with starlight. The Rosefinch divine sect had arrived. My fingers are still very painful, so I'm typing much slower than usual. I'm writing the next chapter, so don't worry. Don't worry about your ears exploding, I won't. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.